Just the detail, the architecture, the art. It's no big. The lights were heavy. Can you do something about the lights? They're out.
No problem.
Is that the things on the ceiling to actual lights? Those are like the lights but the lights that are but the ceiling is which is unusual for something.
Usually there are 3 rows.
Yeah, they taking this out. Okay. Oh, it's not.
That seat over Would you like to
Up here to
There's more seats on top. It's gonna be a good day.
but the other ones don't.
Not yet. That being said, someday they're gonna have to like carry me out of here up those stairs. Someday they're gonna have to carry me out of here up those stairs. And I feel bad for those cops, but not really. Yeah. Yeah. And these things are like so incredibly uncomfortable. Like, yeah.
Oh, it feels like church up there or something.
Yeah, but like worse. This is going to be a good meeting full of great public comment. I can already tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Careful. That's live.
Maybe we can get it away.
I might want to stay for the entire meeting, but probably.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? Yes, and I'll come back for this afterwards.
I know, I saw that. We're so funny. I was laughing at midnight when I read
Well, what I don't like is the fact right, like 5.
I'm going to come in and out of different places.
Just like yes, that's a checkpoint. All the various
All of the sets are related, that's why. Oh, and this thing looks like,
Wow. There's a bunch of events. Talking.
yes, they're all related.
Yeah, yeah.
These are all the sets.
Oh,
They all look alike. That's the parallel from
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and she's from Lemonade. That's my other question. But we fish funny like
Yeah.
crazy. Not even Catholic anymore.
Well,
I'm just gonna go and ask.
Somebody turned the clock back like 12 years as they come right. Good, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Worcester City Council meeting today. And Ken, please stand for the pledge of allegiance and start speaking there.
Under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Council Bergman? Here. Council Gloria?
Here.
Council Algier?
Here.
Council King? Here. Councilmember Carlson? Council Leanne?
Here.
Council Ada?
Yeah.
Council Priscilla?
Here.
Council Russell?
Here.
Council Toomey? Mayor Brady? Here. We have a proclamation, and Council King has to give, so is Ava Ortiz back there? She can come on front, if she'd like. Hey, come on in.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Ava, welcome. Whereas Ava Ortiz, a sophomore at Worcester Academy, has demonstrated outstanding dedication and passion for the art of tap dance. And whereas Ava Ortiz has earned a place on the prestigious USA tap dance team, an honor that reflects her exceptional talent, discipline, and commitment to her craft. Whereas Ava Ortiz will represent the United States and the city of Worcester in the upcoming International Dance Organization World Tap Dance Championship in Prague, Czech Republic, an internationally recognized competition featuring the world's top tap dancers. Whereas Ava balances rigorous academic commitments at Worcester Academy with the demanding schedule of competitive athlete, exemplifying perseverance, time management, and pursuit of excellence in all aspects of her life. And whereas the Worcester community is immensely proud of Ava's achievements and the positive representation she brings to her school, her family, and her city on the world stage. Now therefore, I, Beatrice Petty, from the City Council in the City of Worcester, hereby proclaim city's recognition and celebration of Ava Ortiz as she competes in the IDO World Tap Dance Championship. Encourage all Worcester residents to join in wishing her continued success. Congratulations. have a great time in Prague. I know Christian has a few words to say too. There's a resolution that the City Council is hereby recognize Ava Ortiz's commitment and dedication as a member of the USA Tap Dance competing in the 2024 International Dance Organization World Tap Dance Championships in Prague, Czech Republic. From October 23rd to 27th, a championship that is the experience of a lifetime, bringing best tap dancers from across the globe together to compete on the stage for the world to see. Skillfully balancing her rigorous academic schedule and demands of competitive dance. Ava has demonstrated resilience and passion. We stand admiring Ava's hard work and the pride she brings to the city of Worcester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on the achievement of a lifetime. We're looking forward to your results. And I just wanted to say a couple of things about your athletic prowess, academics, and balancing all of that. We know that that's a major part of this, and we want to make sure that we acknowledge that. And I jotted down a couple of notes about athletics and the importance of engaging the mind. In tap, one of the parts of that is making sure that you're able to improvise, right? Improvisation. And that really speaks to how we move through life. And we're looking forward for that continued example. Thank you so much for representing us, and we'll be here when we get back. Congrats.
The next item is approval of the minutes. Those in favor, opposed, or withholding. Public participation, a person may speak for no more than 2 minutes of any item on the agenda. You have 2 minutes, and try to keep it, I'm not sure how many people are going to speak, so try to keep it ready 2 minutes. We have to do it for an hour, so we'll go to 7:40 at the latest. I'll get your names, your residence, and data number. Talk about for the subject matter.
Good evening. My name is Mary Ann Carroll. Did you see my address?
No, this is city residence.
Okay. I live in the city of Worcester, and I'm the chair of the Worcester City Republican Committee. And I'm here to speak for agenda item 10I.
10I?
Oh, 10L, I'm sorry. 10L. As you know, we live in a country that is based on the rule of law. And I'm here tonight asking your help to ensure that the laws of our country and our state and our city are followed regarding candidates for elected office in the city of Worcester. Our city charter in section 21C for city council and in 41C for school committees state that any voter shall be eligible to hold office. A voter, defined by the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 51, Section 1, has to be a citizen. Citizens are voters in Massachusetts. No non-citizens can be voters in Massachusetts. And the 14th Amendment, Section 1, defines the word citizen as somebody who is born in the United States or has become naturalized. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Because, according to the Secretary of State's office, when an individual registers to vote in Massachusetts, they must swear that they are a citizen of the United States under the pains and penalties of perjury, and provide identification supporting this claim. I'm here tonight as the chair of the Worcester Republican City Committee, asking this council to enact an ordinance requiring anyone who is going to run for elected office in the city to prove their citizenship when requesting their nomination papers. This is not a new concept. Employers in this city, including the City of Worcester, are required by federal law to complete an I-9 form with individuals who are offered employment. This form, which is produced by the Department of Homeland Security is an employment eligibility verification form. Now, as city councilors, I know that you work and know this isn't technically a job, you're an elected official, but you still work very hard, and similar to employees' citizenship or eligibility to work being verified, so should our elected officials' citizenship be verified, especially because the laws of the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and our city charter require all elected officials of the city of Worcester to be citizens. This is not a cumbersome extra step. This is just a simple showing the proper identification. It only excludes people who are excluded by law anyway. To be a citizen of the United States, you have the privilege to vote and you have the privilege to run for elected office. Non-citizens are excluded from those privileges.
Thank you.
My name is Nora, and I'm your mother of immigrants. She deserves the same rights as the other immigrants. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nelly Medina. I'm in District 5, and I'm proudly represented by Atal Hajian, Councilwoman. So the Fourth Amendment states, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens under the United States. I ask this committee that if we are subject to American laws, and we are Americans, don't we also have the right to represent our communities and make laws and policies under which we are also governed? It is concerning to me that a sitting school committee member making decisions about our children's education in a city welcoming immigrant children into our schools is affiliated with this idea. As a Worcester public school parent who works directly with Worcester's immigrant communities, I understand that a proposal such as attempting to exclude legal residents from the same rights as any other tax-paying Americans could figure more prominently into the local Republican hate-fueled agenda targeting Worcester public schools and immigrant students. Will Kathy Boyd, donor member and former chair of the Worcester Republican Party, endorse this incendiary proposal? Has she publicly denounced this? I request an inquiry into whether Republican Kathy Roy, a sitting school committee member, publicly supports this item. And I want to remind everyone, especially those who put this petition together, that the second most illegal immigrant in Massachusetts are from Ireland. Thank you.
I am Edson Montero, President of Worcester. Member of the City Council. I am a naturalized citizen, like many others in this community. And I made a conscious decision to come to this country, embraces its value, and work tireless to become a citizen. It was a long and difficult process, full of personal sacrifice, but I did it because I believe in the power of the democracy. And I believe in the promise that the United States offers. This, with hard work, dedication, and love for our community, anyone can make a difference. This proposed amendment is a value that tells the immigrants, you are no one of us. No matter how long you've been living here, no matter how much you are contributed, it's destroyed the very principle of equality and fairness that our city and this country stand for. I understand the importance of ensuring that the candidate for public office meet legal requirements. One of these requirements is to be a registered voter, and to be a registered voter, we must be a citizen. To apply for citizenship, we begin to rigorous screening, pass tests of United States history, a government and swore an oath to hold the Constitution, what else must we need to do to prove we are belong? If we, many of the United States born citizens could even pass the test required by our government. This amendment would disproportionately affect immigrants, many of whom are already underrepresented in government, such as my fellow Dominicans and Latino community. It undercut the very diversity that makes us our city strong. We are a city of immigrants, and our leadership should reflect that diversity. We are excluding valuable voices that could help shape our city for the better. Like I said before, together we can be better. Insist to you to reconsider this statement, this amendment, instead of obtaining division. Let's work together to ensure that our elections are open, fair, and accessible to all citizens, whether they were born here or came here later on life. Naturalized citizens like me love this country and this city. We have improved our community time and time again. We deserve the same opportunity and fair shot, just like anyone else to serve our community. I ask you, City Council, to reject this amendment and uphold the values of inclusivity, equality, and fairness.
What's your name and city of residence?
Yeah, Robert Malata, Worcester, here to speak out. Yes, this petition, I think it's really just making sense. If you're a registered voter, you have to use it. So we are going to this is really an attack on folks that have come here and are trying to live a life just like every single other American citizen. This is really erosion of, we speak out against anything that might erode people's ability to participate freely in the democratic process. If you start doing things like this, and then who knows where it's going to go. I can imagine even someone asking for whether or not I can run. Where does it stop? That's not what are not the values that everyone in this room has. These are not the values that the city espouses, and I think everyone here is in agreement that we call it it's a demonstration. Because you are, like I said, you have to be a citizen to be a registered voter, and that's that. I also just wanted to speak in support of item 12E, Councilor Burton's order supporting Bill H2963, the bill, and City Council supports it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Saxford, a resident of Worcester. I wish to address agenda item 10L, the self-titled Fairness and Representation petition. I want to point out that the proposal fails to identify any unfairness that exists. The Worcester Republican City Committee, the members of which are not identified by name in the petition or on their website, are requesting City Council update election requirements regarding eligibility for elected office. They want all candidates for office to be born in America or prove their citizenship prior to running for office in Worcester. As we know, Worcester is a majority minority city, and all Worcester voices deserve the chance to be represented on our city council.
Yes.
A person does not need to be a citizen in Worcester to rent or own property, pay city taxes, or support local businesses. You don't need to be a citizen to work in Worcester, so how is it fair to require citizenship to represent the people of Worcester? The xenophobic, racist, and misogynistic nature of this petition screams out. It is a manifestation of the hate-based platform of the Republican Party at all levels, trying to ooze into the fabric of Worcester. Worcester, whose city manager's strategic planning webpage has identified our city's vision as to be the best managed city in the country and create a thriving community where opportunity is available to everyone, regardless of their background or situation in life. Please note, it does not say available to every Worcester U.S. citizen. Yep. So how is this proposed change fair? The city manager's strategic planning webpage goes on to identify its values, one of which is to be resident-focused and starting with the needs of residents to inform Worcester's priorities. This value refers to the needs of residents to inform Worcester's priorities, not Worcester's U.S. citizens. So I ask again, how is it fair to require citizenship to represent the people of Worcester? My request is that Worcester City Council reject this anti-immigrant petition and reject the Republican Party to attempt to infect the city of Worcester with their hatred, while not even having the courage to identify themselves by name in a petition or on their website. How do you know this request is being submitted by Worcester residents?
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Rogers. I live in Worcester, District 3. I am the Secretary of the Worcester Republican City Committee. I am speaking to you tonight to address item 10L, and I'm speaking in my capacity as an individual, not as an official rep of the Worcester Republican City Committee. I'd like to clear the air regarding this agenda item. This is not anti-immigrant. The purpose of this item, as I understand it, an individual, is to ensure that only citizens are allowed to spend the money that the city raises. That is basically the gist of my statement. There was one other part I wanted to add. I feel it is xenophobic. Oh, what choice of words? I feel it is disingenuous to allow non-citizens to spend the city of Worcester's money. Thank you for your time. I yield the remainder of my time.
We've done try to get through everybody, so let's give everybody the respect so we can so everybody has a chance to speak.
My name is Adam Thilker. I'm from the city of Worcester. And when we address the city council, I'm supposed to be addressing its three chairs, so I'm speaking to you here today. What we are seeing here is a completely unnecessary petition. It is already against the law for anybody to hold office without being a citizen. Therefore, we have to ask why this is being done.
Right. Yeah.
This is being done in order to finger immigrants, people who have in many cases fled from regimes where the words "papers, please" was enough to make your blood run cold, who came to the United States and became Americans because they loved the freedom that they had not to be identified in this sort of way. Now, this sort of thing which we're seeing used to be a splintered sort of a point of view. Now it is the policy of the National Republican Party from the hair on down to attack immigrants with lies, with slurs, and with general threats of violence in some cases. And I hate to see this sort of stuff coming to our city, especially because it's been pointed out this is a majority immigrant city. Now, we need to do more than just reject this petition. Yep. We need to stop this entire thing. How many people are citizens in this room could readily show papers showing that they were citizens? Are we all supposed to carry around IDs from now on so that some shadows can stop us in the street and grab us if our papers don't match? What is this? Enough.
Mr. Mayor, Mark Nelson, pastor of Salem Covenant Church here in Worcester and president of Worcester Interfaith. I stand here with Aaron Payson, who is the pastor of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester. I speak in opposition to the amending of the city charter. This is actually my third time living in Worcester. I lived here in the 1970s, briefly 84, 85, and now since 2015. And I've always been wonderfully surprised at how forward-looking Worcester has been. I was on jury duty recently and had time to take in and read the beautiful murals in the courthouse. It was there that I learned that Worcester has been at the forefront of social and legal firsts. 2 Worcester barbers were the first African Americans to serve on the U.S. jury in 1860. The local abolitionist newspaper hailed this as an encouraging sign of the times. It supported women's rights, the first female district attorney in 1927, the first female judge in Massachusetts in 1930. These are all things to be extremely proud of. This proposed amendment I see as a discouraging sign of the times by targeting, intimidating, and discouraging any persons of immigrant descent. I've always been proud of Worcester's embracing of diversity. We've had the mayor to our church for celebrations congratulating the Ghanaian, Liberian, and Afghani achievements in their new home country. And so I respectfully urge the City Council to vote no to the amending of our city charter. I give you thanks.
Idella has it, City of Worcester. We have enough oppression. I'm sick of it. What are they afraid of? Pretty soon we're going to have fingerprints when we go to vote. How do I prove I'm a citizen? And how did they decide who must prove they're a citizen? Who's going to vote for me? Who's going to vote for you? What is this, Nazi friggin' Germany? Are they afraid that too many minorities are voting and they might get another minority in office? Yeah. What is behind all this? This is America. Let's wake up. Let's cut back on the oppression, not increase it. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Kirsten Frazier and I am a resident of Worcester. Tonight I'm also addressing agenda item 10L, and to put it bluntly, this agenda item is garbage.
Yeah.
It is unnecessary, and frankly a blatant attempt to encourage and promote racism and xenophobia, while also attempting to get free advertising for a political party. I think we're all giving him that advertising ironically, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be the kind of advertising they were hoping for. Certainly it's not going to be positive for the most part. If the creator of this agenda item had done any research at all, they would realize that in order to run for any city office, you have to be a registered voter, as we have heard. In order to be a registered voter, you must be a citizen, either through birth or naturalization. Registered voter and the word voter are listed on the page that tells you how to become a candidate for office 5 times in the first paragraph. I think it's pretty clear. Furthermore, comparing this to an I-9, that is very disingenuous. You don't have to be a voter and a U.S. citizen to get a job. You simply have to have the papers that show that you can legally work here. So that is a completely different issue. This is not, otherwise, why are we just looking for the papers of those who have been naturalized? So the requirements of this agenda item that naturalized citizens be required to show papers is just ridiculous. It reeks of fascism and authoritarianism, and it's just another way of trying to create division among the many citizens of this city who have come here, regardless of what century, in order to create a better lives for themselves and their families. We have fought against this type of position several times before, and those who supported these policies lost badly. Finally, we are all immigrants to this country unless we are part of an indigenous nation. It is demeaning and a slap in the face to all of us. We should be celebrating our diversity and welcoming others, not behaving like small-minded bigots. Yes. All faith organizations have a version of the golden rule. Treat each other the way you want to be treated. Let's follow that golden rule and send this ridiculous item back to the garbage heap where it belongs, please.
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Orafa Kupoku Sakoli, and I'm here with my dad, Mr. Kwame Sakoli, and he's been a resident of Worcester for the past 35 years. I was born in Ghana, but I was made in the USA.
Yeah.
I'm a law-abiding citizen who was sworn an oath to defend the US Constitution. I'm a family man, and my children all attend the Worcester public schools. I'm a homeowner and do pay taxes, even when I disagree with the high tax rates. This quote appears on the Statue of Liberty's pedestal. Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your TV show. Send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I left my lamp beside the golden door. Like so many here, America gave us hope and a reason to achieve our dreams. As a second-generation immigrant, I earned my bachelor's degree from master's degree from Human Law. I recently earned my Jewish doctorate from Mass School of Law. I recently ran for the mayorship of Worcester about 5 years ago. If I had not mentioned my name at first, one would have thought this is a classic American story. But why am I here? Because my citizenship is being questioned. My love for this country and my solemn oath to the Constitution is being questioned. All because I was foreign born. All because I proudly speak in a Ghanaian accent. This disparate treatment of Americans just because of where they were born is unconstitutional and a slippery slope. This bill is enough to intimidate legal citizens to stay out of the political circles. This bill essentially means that if you were born in another country, you cannot be loyal to America. How? Who thinks like that? How dare you question my citizenship because I speak in a different accent? Have you forgotten your grandparents were also foreign born? This is essentially a dog whistle, and foreign born citizens do understand. We are humans like your grandparents. We do not eat dogs. We shouldn't be penalized because of this is not America that I want to raise my kids in. So I plead with the Worcester City Council to just deny this and to oppose this. Thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Holly Montero. I'm a citizen of the District 5 here in Worcester. I stand before you in opposition to the proposed amendment to our city charter, which would require candidates for elected office to submit proof of U.S. citizen and for naturalized citizens to present their naturalization papers. I believe this proposal could have unintended consequences that run counter to the values of inclusion and democracy. First, this amendment adds unnecessary barriers to the candidacy process. We have already systems in place at the state and federal levels to verify citizenship, and this additional requirement risks discouraging qualified, passionate individuals from seeking office, particularly those who have had the courage to become naturalized citizens. These naturalized citizens should be celebrated, not burdened with extra scrutiny. Second, this measure could foster division and discrimination, making naturalized citizens feel as though their commitment to this country is being questioned. We must be careful not to create policies that inadvertently send a message of exclusion to those who contribute so much to our community. I urge the Council to consider this broader implications of this amendment and reject it in favor of a more inclusive approach to local governance. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Holmes. I live in Worcester. This is all great. All these people rock, and I'm all against 10L, but I'm here to talk about 10J. So sorry. This is my first time at a council meeting, and I'm here to talk about parking at the library. I have a 4-year-old and a baby, and the library quickly became a reliable and important destination for us, as it does for many families in Worcester. We loved it there. It was actually at a meeting at the library that I found out how to engage with the local government, and now I'm here. So according to the library's own mission statement, the Worcester Public Library serves as a gathering place that actively promotes the free exchange of ideas in our democratic society. In case you don't know, or you don't visit the library very often, the main branch of the library is the only library in Worcester that I'm aware of that has a fee for parking. But you'll find people there doing Zumba, yoga, learning English, taking students to gym classes, learning computer programming. They have just this month over 70 events and classes for kids in the month of October. It's an amazing place, and if you haven't been, you should go. The main branch of Worcester Public Library specifically is plays a critical role in connecting city residents to information, resources, and to one another. All this is free, sort of. Just last month, I paid $17 as a validated parking rate to park my car at the main bridge. Essentially, it's a subscription service for a library that should be free. I support paying for parking in the city when I'm shopping, dining, and attending events downtown, but the library's already paid in part through our resident tax dollars. To add insult to injury, visitors are charged by the hour, so if you go over that hour mark by even a second, like I have many times trying to get a stroller and kids downstairs from the 3rd floor, you end up paying more money. You get charged for another hour that you're not even using, turning the visit to the library into a frustrating experience. I was told by 3 different employees at the library that people call and complain about the parking situation all the time, or else they probably would have just thought, oh, it's just me, and now come today. But it makes sense. Car ownership is increasing every year among lower income residents because driving is a necessity for economic mobility. The average age of a car owned in Massachusetts, like mine, is over 10 years old. So it would be expected that there are many residents in Worcester who fall into a cross-section of people who would likely benefit from the services offered by the main branch of the library, but who are price sensitive to fees to park. Unsurprisingly, it seems to be the universal sentiment that when I talk to people about this, they just feel that it's wrong to have to pay for parking at a public library. More importantly, for the city is that the downstream effects of charging for a public service hinders the Worcester Public Library's potential reach and impact. With countless other ways for people to spend their time these days, any barriers, no matter how seemingly harmless or necessary it seems in the short term, ultimately turns people off and turns them away. Worcester Public Library cannot count itself as a leader in inclusivity and accessibility while this barrier remains in effect. There must be a more equitable solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Al Castellano. I am a new Worcester resident in the last few months. And I want to thank everybody on the other side of the bar, because I was a city councilman in Albany for 12 years, so I appreciate you sitting there and listening to us, the citizens, with our confidence. First of all, I also am opposed to 10L. I did come here to speak to support my daughter Catherine, who just spoke about the library and the parking fees. I noticed that it may not seem, well, I'll be making this easier than me. I second my daughter's comments regarding the charging of a fee to park when visiting the public library. In my mind, it is an equity issue. Many people who live in the city are economically challenged, unmet burden, which means most people understand pay more than 30% of their income for housing, or even unhoused. And where I live in Fremont Street, there's been at least 3 people since I lived there since July that have been living out of their cars, and then the police move them on after a few weeks, they move on. The cost of rent, groceries, even with SNAP benefits, preclude many individuals and families from affording in-home Wi-Fi, thus blocking their financial ability to access a modern-day necessity, no longer a luxury, the internet. The people who face these financial challenges depend on the library for computer and internet access to do things such as search for job opportunities, fill out job applications, write resumes, fill out college applications, search for more affordable housing options. These same families depend on the library for free job training classes, adult education programs, baby and toddler community time, and after-school programs for older children. The parking fee, though it may seem minimal to many of us, it is a financial impediment for those who most need the services and programs offered by the Worcester Public Library. And now that the city has hired a chief equity officer, and in the drive for a more equitable Worcester, perhaps you can take the lead on finding ways to eliminate parking fees for library patrons, possibly starting with a way for the library to put in a fee ticket, except for anyone who has a SNAP beneficiary. Thank you.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Elisa Levine. I live in Worcester, District 1. I'm here also to speak in opposition to 10L. As many people have already said, it's already the requirement that citizens hold office. Want to make people prove it. I was explaining it to my 5-year-old on the way over. He said, that's not kind. It's not kind. A 5-year-old can understand it. I'm a public school parent, his classmates who maybe go on to become citizens. Why impose this additional barrier? It says, you're not welcome here. We don't want you making decisions for our city. That's not the city that I'm proud to be a part of. Sometimes we wish we could keep our Worcester problems just to Worcester, but unfortunately, the history of the ideas behind this petition has a long and painful history. Former President Donald Trump popularized this birtherism when he asked President Obama, show me your pictures. I wish we could say that this isn't about Worcester, but it's not bringing national issues and those kinds of ideologies into our community and in front of this body. So I trust this body to make a decision to say that kind of what used to be fringe and is now much more mainstream ideology has no place in this city. That's not what we're teaching our children. It is unkind. It is unnecessary. It should be rejected. Thank you.
Matthew No, resident of Worcester, District 2. Want to know 3 of the petition items, so I want to speak in support of 10J, the library parking. That maybe is something for the Parking and Transportation Office to investigate, because that lot is actually not owned by the library or managed by the library. So that would be where that should probably go. I know it causes stress for the staff of the library, have to deal with these parking issues all the time as well. 10K is another questionable petition that no one's really spoken on yet, suggesting that the colleges should be informed that the city will no longer provide police or fire service to the colleges, which is just kind of outrageous on the face of it. For a number of reasons, most colleges already have their own police department. For one, that's already a thing, for better or worse. And 2, it's in the city's best interest to have the fire department respond wherever there's a fire. Most of our colleges are kind of in neighborhoods, so that's pretty quickly. It seems like another attempt at punishing colleges in the city in response to some of the other conversations we've been having. And then of course 10L, correct? Yeah. It just seems to be creating an unnecessary barrier for people to run for public office. Voting, you already have to be a registered voter, as everyone has said over and over. So it kind of feels like this is a wedge attack nationally on the idea that voter registration is not secure, that voting is tampered with.
You're right.
And it's not. We've got all kinds of propaganda going on around that, so let's try to avoid that. And if this was a good faith petition, I would imagine it would request my birth certificate alongside anyone else's naturalization papers, because you can't just guess where I'm from, right? I mean, you might be able to, but that's worse. That makes a bigger problem. So I'm asking for council to vote this down and maybe investigate how clearly unconstitutional orders make it on the agenda in the first place, because despite some of the earlier commentary,
Thank you.
being allowed? Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sheila Brenner, and I live in Worcester. I came to support the majority of the people here about 10L. I didn't return anything, so this probably won't make any sense, but it makes no sense to me, as people have said much more cogently, to require people to prove their citizenship. We live in a time where the Republican Party seems to want everyone divided, and we are members of Worcester Friends Meeting, Quakers who believe in community and equality. We believe that we all love the city of Worcester. I come from the city of Chicago, the city of big shoulders, which is a city of immigrants, and I was happy to recognize the same situation here in Worcester, where you can hear different languages being spoken on the street. My children can be exposed to different cultures, different foods. We all live in this together, and this is a hateful statement that doesn't represent the citizens of Worcester. And I also want to support the library one, because I pray for that 5-minute space, that 1 5-minute space every time I go to the library. I have homeschooled my children. I have used libraries in Chicago, Lexington, Kentucky, Fort Collins, Colorado, and here in Worcester. And this is the only place that charges at the library. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tom Brenner from Worcester. I just want to briefly point out that 10L is just another, what I see, I hate to classify it as a Republican thing, but it is a measure that is inserted with no value at all, has no chance in hell of passing, and is designed merely to insert chaos and confusion into the process. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here in opposition to 10L as well, and I'm going to just take a different approach to this. Throughout the last couple of years, the city clerk has rejected multiple items from citizens of the city of Worcester for much less spurious grounds than this one. This order on its face is unconstitutional in two different ways. Both the 4th and 14th Amendment creates a dual set for citizenship requirements that shouldn't be on there. But we know, as people who've lived in Worcester a long time, the city manager very much sets the agenda for the city council meeting. Why would this make it through when we've rejected so many petitions from other people who live here in the city? Doesn't make sense unless you're afraid of a lawsuit. So if you're afraid of a lawsuit, and that's the reason why it's on here, then everybody else, including myself, will have rejected petition. I guess we should all sue too, and then they put ours back on. It doesn't make any sense that it was allowed on. And so I asked that both City Solicitor Mike Trainer and City Clerk Nico Angeli, that you resign, because you put an unconstitutional
The agenda is set by the council, just go ahead.
Doesn't seem like a joke.
Yeah.
Tom Reno, newly of Worcester again. I've worked here forever, however. Well, it's going to be a short meeting, and then this. I was reading the agenda, and I got there and went, oh, it's not going to be short. Plainly violates the 14th Amendment, creates different classes of citizens, which we don't do, since slavery. And probably a violation of Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act 1963 for discrimination against discrimination for nation of origin. It's ridiculous, it shouldn't be on the agenda. This isn't the first time, though, an unlawful order got on the agenda. We had one in June, when two councilors proposed an order that they have, in part, have public hearings for road design review, which is not a power this council has. You have 4 instances where you can have public hearings specifically delegated in the charter. So weird, but yet, as my friend John mentioned, in May, we had a wrongful termination case that was like molded into being able to prevent speech from happening. There's very convoluted and not very clear justification for keeping orders off the agenda. And this is on. It's very curious. And the people that serve in this body don't seem to understand. The office of the city solicitor is an executive branch office. Cities in Massachusetts and by our charter have 2 branches of government. And this council and members that have preceded all of you continue to just endlessly see your responsibility, see your power, see your rights to the administration. The case that they actually cited, the wrongful termination case, says that you can be fired as a municipal employee if you speak in your area in which you work against administration policy, against the policy of the office you work. So by the administration's own justification, should the office of the solicitor take a position against the city manager, he can be fired. So he's not going to do that. So it really irritates me that we can't get the concept of basic American civics that is taught in like the 8th grade, separate, co-equal branches of government. We just don't do that. And so I would hope somebody will get up at the end of the meeting during suspension and propose that to take the first step, that this council hires its own attorney. The executive office of the city manager has a budget 117% larger.
I don't want to close the meeting up, the document.
Good evening. My name is Ruth I want to share with you some historical. In 1970, when the U.S. went into World War, they gave, without request, citizenship to Puerto Ricans so that they can serve under war. Citizenship without representation, because Puerto Ricans cannot vote for the president in Puerto Rico. Okay? Yeah. And since then, Puerto Ricans have fought in every single war that the U.S. has had. Yeah. Every single war. And how does this country treat Puerto Ricans? Let me just tell you. While I was doing my master's degree, part of the program, we had to work with the English language learning. That was the year that Boston had the whole racial disparity, and the school committee in Boston passed a law that families enrolling their children in the public school had to show proof of citizenship. I took a family to all their children that had just come from Puerto Rico. They were in line waiting for a turn. None of the white families were asked. When it came our turn, she was very adamant. And I said, oh, so you didn't ask the Irish Italian who are not citizens, but you're asking Puerto Ricans who are citizens. Yeah. Okay? And when we have a president, former president, who said he didn't want any more immigrants from black people country, he wants them from Europe. If you go to the border with Canada and the US, you see one Canadian can cross over with no problem.
Thank you.
And they never talk about bridging the wall between Canada and the US.
My name is Domenica Perron, and I am a resident of District 2, and I'm here speaking to 10L today in opposition. I am also an Ecuadorian immigrant from Guayaquil, Ecuador, who immigrated to the United States when I was 2, after my father passed away. In 3rd grade, I became a citizen of the U.S. after my mother worked for years to overcome the financial and systemic barriers our society has built up against immigrants. During my young adult life, I found my passion for service and giving back to my community when I was in high school. I served as a youth worker for my city's recreation department, similar to Recreation Worcester. As I got older, my passion persisted. I did 2 federal AmeriCorps programs. These early lessons I learned in service have shaped my career path, the way I build relationships with community, the way I see myself as a public servant committed to doing my part in working towards social justice and equity for my community. I have always loved the people of this country, the life and opportunities I've experienced here, the communities I've become a part of, and the villages that have raised me to be who I am today. And as James Baldwin said, I love America more than any other country in the world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. Last year, I ran for city council, and I earned the votes of over 6,000 City of Worcester residents. I knocked on thousands of doors and engaged in conversations with members of our community from all parts of the city. Sometimes people would look at my palm card and note that I was an immigrant, and they would tell me immigrants are ruining this country. When I asked why and how, they never came up with a good answer. Just unwarranted hatred that has no truth behind it. I feel sorry for those that hold this hatred. I know they are just lonely, unhappy, and have never felt the love, pride, and sense of belonging that our immigrant communities share. And to those that say, yes, but you're different, you're not like the immigrants we see on TV or those talked about in the news, I say you're wrong. I'm exactly like those immigrants. We work hard, we take care of our families, and we want to leave this world a better place than those before us. We believe in justice, we are resilient, and we serve as role models for our community. We deserve to be here. This is against the 14th Amendment, a waste of time, and I hope that my city councilors denounce this openly and publicly.
Hi, good evening. My name is Noah. I'm a resident of Worcester in District 2. First, I want to say I support the agenda item for Cleveland and the library. It's crazy that my tax dollars fund the library and I pay to park there. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was opposing 10L. I think a lot's already been said about how unconstitutional the language of the petition itself is, so I won't continue on that. But as somebody who lives in Worcester and has been paying attention to politics for a while, I thought it was very surprising that something so blatantly unconstitutional would get put on the agenda when I've heard councilors and city officials say that other items won't get discussed on the council floor because someone decided they're unconstitutional in the past. I'm thinking about the debate about the crisis pregnancy centers, for example, which we now have billboards on the highway warning people about the crisis pregnancy centers that state officials had to come put in because our city didn't take that step to protect us. I think that what actually motivates this is not about the Constitution. I think that's something Republicans say to defend these types of racist petitions. I think what it's really about is about something that was brought up on by city councilors during the debate about ADUs. Some people don't want to see their neighborhood makeup change and look different. And that's racism and that's xenophobia, and that's what's the impetus behind this petition. So to the people who feel that way and that their actions are motivated by that fear, I would just say, stay mad, because Worcester is going to continue to be an immigrant city, and the immigrants are not going to be leaving because of a petition like this. Yeah. And to the immigrant community and the people who are lucky enough to call them friends and comrades like myself, I would hope that you don't get discouraged by seeing things like this. You see it and take it for what it is. It's fear from people who don't want immigrants and people who don't look like them having power in the city. And I hope it motivates us to continue pushing for change. And I hope that the entire city council takes it seriously and recognizes the unconstitutionality of it.
Thank you.
Jeff Peacock, City of Worcester. How many here want to hear another recitation of the 14th Amendment? Didn't think so. Let me summarize what I've heard today then by just saying simply, if it opposite ditto. I'm not going to waste your time with rehashing the same things. I'm going to offer you a little bit of personal observation. I arrived here in Worcester about 10 years ago. I found everybody to be warm and welcoming. And now, face to face, we're left with somebody anonymously putting in a petition that pushes hate and discrimination. What happened? Why are we wasting time and resources discussing something that has been previously announced doesn't stand a chance of hell passing? Why are we wasting our time looking at things that take us backwards? If the opposition, if that's what they are, doesn't have something productive, progressive, something to offer to solve challenges, rather, give us their solution, then they're not offering anything of value. Why are they doing what they're doing? I'm in opposition to 10L. I hope everybody else is also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Darren McGurney. I'm 12 years old, and I'm here to say that no person should have to prove that they are a citizen to make a difference to this world. My mom is a Telhai GI, and I can say, as somebody who has seen her through her best and worst years, she's the strongest person in the world. Not just as a city councilor, but as a mother. There's never been a day that goes by without her doing something to help the city, and not once has her being an immigrant made a negative impact on her work. I don't care who you are or where you're from, immigrant or not, we're all the same, and we're all humans. I may be young, but I'm also sensible enough to say that you don't have to show a piece of paper to do what you love. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nonzalo. I live on Brussels district. Oh,
You directly comments.
Yeah,
Sir, you directly comments.
Come again?
Directly comments to the chair.
Oh, I'm just saying where I live on both.
Yeah.
I live on this castle. I own a business at Jeddah, so I also own a business on the other side of Jeddah. So this is where I am on the city. So basically, I just kind of have a few things because first of all, For you to register to vote, you must be a US citizen, a resident of Mass, 18 years of age, and should be incarcerated or felony or any of those. That's what it says. Second one, coming to Worcester, to be a council at large, you must be registered to vote. So that means you've gone through a process. I think so. But maybe you're educated. I'm also a US citizen, in case if you're wondering, but you haven't asked me. Then, the question I'm asking on all this is now, they say, why is it only naturalized citizen? So I haven't asked them, how do you know if I'm naturalized, or if I have the right drive to present that I'm a citizen? Why someone else that looks like someone else doesn't? A lot of folks who say, oh, but it doesn't matter. If you are a citizen, you could just easily show your, but why should you stereotype? Why should people ask you the question? I told you I am. Then the reason why I'm saying all this is now I have a question. So come during the election, you know, like, you know, mayor, you come to African churches and ask for votes, which is okay. Most of you can. So you're gonna explain this to us. I need to understand that. Then another thing, because now, like we said, most of you have to publicly say your stand. That's where we are, 2024. You have to publicly stay where you are. You don't just let it die. And that's all I need to say. Thank you.
My name is Jolanda Thorpe. I am a U.S. citizen. I am a daughter of an immigrant. I lived in Worcester for about 16 years. I now live in Millbury. I am here not only because I fear for the direction Worcester is moving in, I fear for democracy. Albeit thinly veiled, it is clear that this motion would attack voter rights. On its face, it questions voter registration process, which then will in turn question election results. The new Republican Party platform is to question the election when they don't get the results they want. This will only be one of many documents, many motions, many proposals that will continue to attack our rights. Not just the rights of the immigrants that come here and gain citizenship, but of everyone's right. I ask the mayor, the city clerk, the city manager, and all council members to vote no. If this proposal passes, it will have larger ramifications. The timing of this proposal is not a coincidence. With just a few weeks before the election, this proposal has already sowed the seeds of voter denial. So on that note, I request all to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Valentine Goins, Worcester resident. I usually have to really work to fit in to 2 minutes, but this time it's going to be much shorter. I'm here to oppose item 10L. I am appalled by the petition and its weirdly included rationale. Mass law already ensures that local office holders are citizens, as many people before me have made clear. The requested charter change is simply intended to harass and intimidate sitting councilors and future office holders. This kind of nativist hate has no place here, and I ask that you all vote to file this item.
My name is John Boyd. I'm a resident of Worcester, and I'm here to speak in opposition of 10L. What I'd like to ask the council to do is let's make sure that our laws treat citizens the same, not draw distinctions between native born and naturalized. And additionally, what I'd like to do is focus our efforts on, as we consider our candidates, let's work on listening to them, hearing what they have to say. Let's ask them questions. Let's ask them good questions, pertinent questions. Let's have a dialogue. And finally, let's just get everybody to start voting. So,
Thank you.
That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, Greg Dorschler, Worcester resident, and others speaking in opposition to item 10L. Other speakers have already pointed out the frivolousness of 10L. I wish I could believe it was simply a misguided effort to address a problem that doesn't exist. Clearly in our community, it is being widely regarded as an attempt to sow divisiveness. I trust that is not the intent of this council, and I encourage you to unanimously vote to file 10L. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jack Martin from Worcester District 4, and a member of the Ward 10 Democrats. I'm here to condemn 10K and 10L, two unconstitutional items that shouldn't have made the agenda. Worcester doesn't have the powers to do this without a charter change, and if they did, they lose once again another lawsuit. 10K retaliates against a free market, seeking to regulate nonprofits that have been the pillars of our economy. The HECCMA, and I'm not going to list all of them, but there are 11 universities. A lot of people have grown up in this area, go there, or otherwise they're brought into the city. Worcester Polytechnic Institution is on the cutting edge of technology and engineering. Like many things in Worcester, including the cost of rent, WPI is growing. And in order to bring safe and affordable living options to the city during the pandemic, WPI partnered with these hotels. It troubles me that city officials now want to provide oversight on a system that brings new young people to Worcester, not to mention a lot of jobs. I'm sure there are more important community benefit agreements to be worried about. And now on to 10L. Like 10K seeks to build fear, resentment, and distrust to outsiders and reclassify them. These are people who just want to build a better life for themselves in the city. I support Councilor Hajiai and Councilor Nguyen, but more importantly, I believe in equality and accessibility. When they became citizens, there's an asterisk next to them that says they're second-class citizens. The 14th Amendment has been mentioned a lot, gives them equal access, and I refute the Republican City Committee's attempts to intimidate immigrants from running for office. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. There's no point in creating more distrust in the civil process. And the only thing that they've accomplished tonight is unite the city against hate and xenophobia. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emma Markowitz. I'm a resident of the city of Worcester, and I'm here to also speak in opposition to item 10L. Like some speakers before me, I am a U.S. citizen, but I'm the daughter of an immigrant. When my mom was a small child, she and her family left the former Xenophobia for safety and a better life. And I know growing up, she learned English and had her name legally changed so she would face less hatred. Not that kids really care if your name is Yelena with a Y or Yelena with a J. People still find ways to hate, but to see adults in the city use this council to try to target out members of our immigrant community and refugees. I strongly oppose that, and I think that we need to call it what it is, which is xenophobia and racism, and it's not lost on me that there's current members of our council who do such great work for this community and have also already faced hate and harassment and disrespect, both from the public and from members of this body for who they are. That's unacceptable, and so I urge you all to file this, to oppose this, to call it what it is, which is not due process or protection for democracy. It's hate, it's xenophobia, it's wrong, and there's no need to other people, and we should be so grateful to anyone who decides to serve this community. We should welcome them and treat them with the respect they deserve. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Margot Barnett, and I've been a resident of Worcester for 35 years. I'm here to speak on item 10L. I'm asking you to file this item and not give it the dignity of a discussion. It's a stunt. There's no actual rationale for this petition. It's not a thing. You can't run for office if you're not a registered voter, and non-citizens can't register. So the only reason for this is to demonize immigrants and get attention to the Worcester Republican City Committee. It even says in the attachment to the item that that's what their goal is. So it's disingenuous to say that it's really anything else. It's shameful that they need to get attention by appealing to the worst xenophobic triggers that people have. It reflects what is going on nationally, and we all need to stand up to it. But what was equally shocking to me when I read this is who proposed it. I knew Marianne Carroll 14 years ago when she supported me when I ran for office. I remember her as compassionate, thoughtful, and competent. She was supporting me, a candidate with the values that I bring today, of inclusion, not exclusion, of solving problems we all face by working together for solutions. So what takes people down this trajectory to demonization of people who are perceived to be the other? She's not the only one. This nastiness is being spread nationally, almost entirely based on lies. It gets us nowhere, does not get us anywhere except a very ugly place. It won't make things better for anyone. So what I want to say to her, to you, right behind me, and to the other people who are going down this ugly road is, come back. An important lesson I learned that election year was that it needs to be about addition, not subtraction, to move forward. There's room for everyone in a movement to make things better. Stop scapegoating and join us to move forward.
Oh, sorry. Did you name the city residents? Senator?
Thank you, Mayor Petty. My name is Robin Kennedy, a lifelong resident of Worcester and the state senator for the 1st Worcester District. I want to first lift up and elevate the voices of our constituents who have spoken in opposition to 10L before. And I want to read an email publicly that I sent to the City Council this morning for the benefit of all immigrants in our community so that they can hear my voice and know that their government represents them and probably does so. I'm writing to you today as a resident of Worcester, a constituent, and as a fellow elected official who joined you in representing a diverse community. We are fortunate in Worcester to have residents from around the world who have chosen to make Worcester their home. Tonight you will consider item 10L. My hope is that you will speak loudly and unequivocally in opposition to this item rooted in bigotry and xenophobia. We often say that Worcester is a welcoming city, yet those words ring hollow when our actions say otherwise. Requiring proof of documentation of citizenship to become an elected official raises serious concerns about inclusivity, democracy, and the core values upon which this country was founded. Introducing this kind of requirement not only undermines these principles, but also opens the door to discriminatory practices that can limit participation for marginalized communities. So often, it is not just the action itself, but the lingering, chilling effects from these actions that cause marginalization. This request, as was noted, is also unnecessary when the existing voter registration process already serves as a robust proof of citizenship. In the United States, becoming a registered voter requires an individual to affirm their citizenship should pass. This existing safeguard is designed to ensure that only eligible residents participate in the electoral process, both as voters and as candidates for public office. Our strength lies in our diversity, in the countless voices and perspectives that come together to make this city vibrant and innovative. The requirement to show documentation of citizenship to run for office disproportionately affects immigrant communities and people of color who already face significant barriers to civic engagement. It creates unnecessary obstacles that further marginalize those who are fighting for representation in our political system. We should instead be focused on empowering individuals who want to serve their communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
David Webb, City of Worcester. 10J, free parking in the library. Yes, regarding item 12D, Mayor Petty's petition to create a small business task force. A little bit too little, too late. I'm for this, but it would be nice if you all listened to small business owners over the past decade instead of waiting until they're drowning and dying to do anything about it. Maybe also we could have had an efficient chamber of commerce that did more than raise money under the guise of making up litter that you all don't provide a place for us to put. Regarding 10L, the proposed redundant and discriminatory practice of requiring naturalization papers from certain city councilors. I've talked in my public comment before about when this administration shows not just how it operates, but its priorities. Yikes. It seems like the only time the city is concerned about lawsuits is when threatened by religious organizations trying to preserve crisis pregnancy centers. This public stunt is blatantly unacceptable, self-promotional, and xenophobic. It's disgraceful that we're even discussing it because the clerk and law department have demonstrated many times with various progressive petitions that by citing rules 11 and 14 together, they can pretty much do whatever they want. Using these rules, they've denied letting the council vote on enunciation of agenda items from the chair, government transparency, clarity or enforcement on current constable laws, clarification from the Parks Department on rules for vendors, additional training for the law department, adopting recommendations made by our own advisory committee, which we've heard about today when City Manager Batista denied people advocating for less spectrum. And my favorite, reviewing the solicitor for denial of constitutional rights. But Worcester Republican Committee can ask for naturalization papers? My only question this morning was this allowed by the clerks of the city solicitors prejudiced? But I contacted the clerk and they responded, citing their duty under Rule 9 to simply prepare the agenda based on the items that come into their office. You didn't do your duty under Rule 9 when you did allow a petition from the former members of the Cable Commission. Didn't do your duty under Rule 9 when Gordon Davis asked you to look into practices of systemic racism. I don't know why you allowed this petition. Maybe to draw attention away from the full-body scanners getting its own secret discussion. Or the city manager attempting to double down on his prohibitive grant practices by reiterating his emphasis to ensure commitment rather than ever taking accountability for his own harm. And it does seem to take the heat off you guys for the ARPA funds, so I'll give you that.
Can you wrap it up?
Yeah, almost done. I'm not just in opposition to 10L. I'm asking how 10L even made it this far, given that the petitioner themselves described it as free promotion. Why are you promoting xenophobia?
Thank you.
My name is Fiona Jatan Singh. I'm from 37 County Street, District 3. I'm also here to talk about 10L. And I won't go through summarizing the whole 14th Amendment again, but the end of it does state that no state, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law, or deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. Equal, meaning you can't separate whether somebody's a citizen by birth or citizen by naturalization. So that goes against the 14th Amendment. Also, my parents were from another country, but I was born here. I also ran for District 3 City Council last year against George Russell. So if this was to pass, does that mean you would just look at me and assume that I'm not born here and I would need to show extra papers versus somebody else that's running? How would you know whether somebody's naturalized citizen or by birth citizen unless you're asking everybody for their birth certificate and their papers to show that they're citizens? So unless you ask everybody, this is an undue process of the law for illegal searches and seizures of paperwork for somebody that is either naturalized or not. So how would you know whether they were naturalized or not unless you asked everybody to prove where they were born and then how they became citizens? So this is an unconstitutional question, and I'm against it. Also, I would like to talk about 10J too. I did avoid the library for many years because I didn't want to pay for parking anymore because I had gotten a couple of parking tickets after staying over 15 minutes in the library. So I support 10J for requesting free parking for constituents of the public library. And 10K, I don't understand how you could expect every college in the city to have their own fire department. I mean, I understand that they can have their own police department. Fire department, that sounds a little bit irradical. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isabella Castro-Corzini, and I'm a lifelong resident of Worcester, but currently a resident in District 5. I'm here tonight to oppose item 10L. Yesterday, we celebrated Indigenous Peoples Day, and I want to acknowledge that we stand on Nipmuc land. As a child of an immigrant, I know all too well the impact of being asked to show your papers. And as the great-great-granddaughter of enslaved African Americans, I understand the weight of that question even more deeply. Our country's history is filled with exclusionary practices that determine who gets to sit at the table and who doesn't. This amendment continues that legacy by silencing marginalized voices. Requiring candidates to show their papers not only creates a xenophobic culture, a way of alienating those who weren't born here, but also distracts voters from critical issues that truly impact our communities. By focusing on a candidate's immigration status, we divert attention from important matters like affordable housing, education, and public safety. This amendment fosters division and creates fear rather than unity and progress. Let's not lose sight of what truly matters in our community. We need leaders who are trailblazers, who can lead the way for others, who follow in their footsteps. We need leaders dedicated to tackling the real challenges we face. This proposed amendment risks driving us further apart at a time when we should be coming together. So I urge you to reject this amendment and focus on creating a future where all voices are heard and everyone has an equitable chance to contribute to the progress of our city here at this table.
Thank you.
Maria Morales, City of Worcester resident, District 5. Hate has no place in my city. This petition is outright racism. This is weaponizing our city against our immigrants and migrants and against everyone in our community. I know we all saw what happened in Ohio and how quickly people's lives became at risk. Is this really what we want for our city? This is our beautiful city. This is supposed to be our welcoming city. Do we not have enough violence in our city already? Every day someone is being hurt. We are wasting time on this. This petition should have never been allowed on the floor of this council. Instead, we should be spending time talking about how are we going to ensure that the unhoused adults and children in our community alike have a safe, affordable housing. How do we protect and ensure that all our residents are safe in our community? That should be our goal. Hate has no place in my city.
Thank you.
I'm Pam Barnes. I'm a resident of the city of Worcester. I'm here to speak in favor of agenda item number 10L, which requested amendments be made to the city charter to clarify that all elected city officials be U.S. citizens, which of course includes naturalized U.S. citizens. Here is some training for those who might not be aware of these facts.
Please let her finish. So, go ahead.
Everybody should know what this is. This is our census that comes to us early every year, like February it came this time. Right here, column. If not a U.S. citizen, indicate citizenship. Why isn't anybody emoting over this right now? Number 2, here's the back of the application for a driver's license, a learner's permit, or ID card application. So another gentleman mentioned these requirements. Voter registration. It gives you the requirements. Why isn't anybody emoting over this? And on both of these documents, it also states laws that discuss the penalties for perjury when you sign these forms. So in closing, all item 10L on this evening's agenda is asking for is that we more clearly state that people who want to hold elected office in the city of Worcester are held to the same requirements as anyone who fills out the annual census or applies for a driver's license. And anybody here who doesn't have to show their ID to get on a plane, raise your hand. I didn't think so. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to close this part of the meeting. We're well over, we're about an hour, so sir, if the last speaker, go ahead and get him, try to wrap up a minute if you can.
Thank you, I won't be long. My name is Steve Sandberg. I've lived in the city since 1973. I would be very interested to know if any of the people behind this petition have any personal knowledge of any illegal immigrant who has ever attempted to run for office in Worcester. I think it's ridiculous. Thank you.
Everybody, so we have some online. You can suspend the rules if you want to allow some people online to speak.
Motion to suspend the rules, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor? Those supported. Next up, first up is Maureen McCullough. People could, who's online, if you could try not to repeat what's been said, and maybe get through this quickly. Thank you.
Hi, hello, can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Molly McCullough, President of Worcester, Secretary of the Worcester Democratic City Committee.
Sean Rose, Chair of the Worcester Democratic City Committee. We're here together. I want to say good evening and thank you for suspending the rules to allow us the opportunity for us to share a statement on behalf of the Worcester Democratic City Committee against the petition filed by Mary Ann Cattle, petition 10L. I first want to say that I'm super disappointed as someone who was observing this meeting to see the disrespect shown to the individual stepping up to the microphone to speak for or against this petition. It was really disappointing, but I suppose not surprising by nature of this petition being put forth. As chair of the Worcester Democratic City Committee, I strongly condemn the Worcester Republican City Committee's proposal to impose discriminatory barriers on naturalized citizens running for local office. Worcester's strength is found in its diversity. Worcester's strength is found in its diversity. Naturalized citizens contribute immensely to our community's fabric, and they deserve the same opportunities to serve in public office as any other American. This proposal seeks to undermine that core belief, attempting to restrict who can serve by unfairly targeting those who have chosen Worcester in this country as their home. It is not up to the Worcester Republican City Committee to determine who is fit to run for office based on the place of their birth. That decision belongs to the voters. Let them choose the leaders they wish to represent them.
Our city thrives when everyone is empowered to participate in our democracy, and we will always stand against the attempts to divide and marginalize members of our community. I, in concert with the State Democratic Party, urge the Worcester Republican City Committee to withdraw this exclusionary measure and for us all to support a political process that is open, fair, and representative of all Worcester residents. Hate, bigotry, and fear-mongering have no place in Worcester or anywhere in our country. Our community thrives when we stand together in unity, respect, and understanding, rejecting the forces that seek to divide us. Worcester has always been a city of resilience and progress, and we must continue to build a future where everyone, regardless of background, is included.
The Worcester Democratic City Committee is asking that our diverse and inclusive City Council file this hate-filled petition 10L. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Casey Burns, City of Worcester resident, and I am here to speak on 10L. I just want to say that it's obvious to many that no one has raised who has spoken in favor of 10L a concern on the rigor of the voting verification process or of the city HR payroll process for the payment for city councilors. No examples have been noted to challenge to this. What is obvious is that what this is signaling to strike fear into our immigrant communities. I would give the petitioners the benefit of the doubt that they're brainwashed into thinking that this is wide-scale voter fraud, despite the clear showing that there is no evidence of this. We can see the signaling clearly on display here as I watch this meeting online and see members of the audience making faces, laughing, making cry baby signals at speakers behind them. This is disgusting to see this kind of lack of disdain for civic engagement live for us all to see recorded at this meeting. My organization works in civic engagement and equity. We see again and again low participation rates, enrollment, and eligible benefit programs critical to people's health and well-being. Many in this room, in your room that you are in, work tirelessly to address these challenges, and this is just a strike against this kind of the robust civic engagement that we need to make this city strong. This is not what the city of Worcester wants or needs to be known for, to make state or national news for, which we are just having meme-worthy moments as we watch this moment. We have heard from some city councilors, but not all, who have made statements against 10L. I look forward to hearing from those who might not expect to stand up for our community, do not expect to stand up for their colleagues and for the constituents, and I look forward to this unanimously being filed. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Randy next speaker is Liz Lydell. I'm trying to close it down.
Hi, thank you for taking some time to hear from us. My name is Liz Lydell. I'm a resident of Worcester. I'm here to oppose 10L. I'm not going to repeat anything anyone said. All I will add is, as a social studies and history teacher of largely students of color, including many immigrants and children of immigrants who it's every history and social studies teacher's dream that one day your students might consider running for public office. And so from that perspective, my hope is that everybody on this council, just like so many of us in the community, would stand against a proposal like this that is unnecessary and exclusionary and sends messages that Worcester is not a place for you, and that's not the kind of city I want to live in, and I hope for my students' future, not the city that they live in either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Diana. I'm trying to get the resident now. Please say your name, say your residence.
Hi, my name is Diana Cohn. I am a resident of Worcester, District 1, and in agreement with everyone, and I'm trying not to repeat any things that have already been talked about, but I think to address you directly, Chair, Mayor Peggy, I feel like this is also going to add a lot of unnecessary bureaucracy and a lot of further impediments to our judicial system and our legal system. Like, why would we need to have this be passed when it's already in place? Like, everyone who's on our city council is a citizen. I don't understand why the people who submitted this petition and who are in favor of it believe that there can still be a monoracial and immigrant-less Worcester. That's not the world we live in, and the world that you're thinking of and yearning for does not exist anymore. Worcester is a very diverse city. It always has been. I was born here, and from the moment I was born into the city, it has always been a melting pot of different cultures and different ethnicities. You cannot return to a world that does not exist anymore. As much as you want for it to happen, and as much as you want for there to be whatever you aspire for in the city of Worcester, the reality is it's not going to go backwards. It's not going to go back into history. The reality is a lot of people in Worcester are immigrants. And if you are in opposition to that, then maybe your community does not exist in the city of Worcester, at least anymore. So, as much as I believe in the words that have been spoken today, I also am concerned that all this rhetoric is just walking around the question of whether or not we believe immigrants even deserve the right to exist in the city. And it's dangerous and it's inflammatory, and I hope you all have a good night.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Kit. I'm trying to get the resident now.
Hello, my name is Kit. I'm from District 1 in Worcester. I'm a lifelong Worcester resident. I'm going to try not to repeat anything that anybody has said, but I will say that my parents are immigrants. Our communities have been centered around immigration and the connection that we have to the city. So I don't understand how this bill can come to power in a city like Worcester that has constantly been at the forefront of many communities across the globe to come for things like work, culture, and connection. And I truly believe that if we all want to, work towards a more progressive future, one that holds all people within it in a fair light, and to move away from things like xenophobia, we should not be circling things like this ever. Not a day in our lives. And that if you, as city council, as the mayor, and as public officials of this city, can see that, then you know that you should not be standing with this bill. And you know that this is an absolutely ridiculous premise that has come to pass. That is all that I have to say.
Thank you.
So my next speaker is Patty Gazar. I'm trying to get the now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hi, my name is Patty Guzar, and I'm a resident of District 2. I support 10J for free parking at the library. Public libraries are an essential community resource that provides access to information, education, and is a space for everyone. Charging for parking undermines the purpose and limits access for those who need it the most. I also wanted to speak on 10L. This proposal is nothing more than segregation. It would set different standards for different groups of residents, placing a higher burden on a group of people who have come here from a different place to, quote, prove themselves. Anyone trying to pass this off as a serious policy is a liar. It's good to see so many people turn out to oppose this. We need to be continuously vigilant in Worcester, unfortunately, because the group of people behind this are closer to power than we think. They donate to people sitting on this city council. They socialize with elected officials, and they are organized enough to get this on the city council agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Natalie Gibson. I'm sure you know now.
Hi, Natalie, District 5. My district councilor is Atel Hajiai. You have my full support along with Tweet, and I hope I didn't say her name incorrectly. I support 10J regarding the library. If we could get that parking free, that would be great. I oppose 10K regarding colleges get their own fire department. That's the last thing we need in the city is more fires because the proper people who should be monitoring them are not. On to 10L, I will not belabor a lot of what I was able to hear. I have to say that to Marianne Drucha and Pam and others that support this, I have to remind them that the Europeans came here to the Americas and colonized it. They did brutal things to the people that were here. They did not discover this place. It was already discovered by indigenous people. So happy Indigenous Day to everyone. Now, thank you. Oh, and I'm sorry, thank you, Councilor King, for suspending rules so that those of us online that couldn't get in there could speak. I also want to say that immigrants, naturalized citizens, these are all people that have been working with you, for you. They could be people that could be saving your own life one day. And lastly, I would suggest that these people take all this energy that they have put into this nonsense of a petition and go and focus it on where there were just almost 10,000 people that were left out at a desert by a certain person in office who busted them there. Go and find out why that's happening. That's something that they should do. Thank you. You all have a great night.
Chairman Kamara said something you saw. Yes, we can hear you. And Chairman, this should be in the audience.
Hi, Deborah Kamara, District 3. I'm calling in the opposition of item 10L. As an immigrant, recent immigrant from Liberia. I live in the city of Worcester since my parents came from Liberia to America, and Worcester was a home, has been a home for us. I went to school in Worcester, graduated from our public schools, and I had an opportunity to serve my community without any jumping through extra hoops with regards to this policy. This policy is just ridiculous. I'm like out of breath right now. I'm actually at a conference, Build Black Bigs in New England, and for immigrants, for people who already have to struggle through the barriers in this country against racism, discrimination, and you just name all of the different things that we have to struggle through. For us to be here speaking on an item, this rhetoric that is so against humanity, I believe that we should not be having this conversation, and I urge the city council members to oppose this item vehemently. We should treat this as something that does not belong, should not even have been on the city council's agenda for tonight. And as an immigrant, and I also want to say, we're all immigrants in this country. There is, as long as you came from, no matter where you came from Italy, from Irish, because I know this is so embedded with, person who feels like they have, spent X amount of more years in America, to think in their loose mind that they can ever put an agenda item to intimidate people, intimidate immigrants, newcomers, or folks that have lived here. To think that they can't do that is just atrocious. And shame to those people that have done this, and shame to everyone who thinks that immigrants should, after working to be a citizen in America. It's hard to learn the history of this country that has caused so much hurt in other countries, but so many of us are here in America, and for us to heal ourselves, to want to be in public service, and then for a human being to think that they can put such an agenda item to make us intimidated is an abomination. So,
thank you.
so I'm saying this, that I'm asking you and everybody in that room right now on City Council to oppose such a thing, and nothing should ever come on the City Council agenda that will cause such intimidation for your residents in the City of Worcester. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next speaker is Alex, and Attorney Rosenat.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Alex. What's your name and city residence?
Thank you so much. My name is Alex. I'm a resident of Worcester. I'd like to start by thanking the Republican City Committee for their order tonight. I think this order can be actually really helpful for us all, not only to start this conversation, but for us to see the kind of changes that folks are envisioning in our city. And I, for one, am really excited. I do think that we should add, though, that if you haven't injected yourself with horse medicine,
Next speaker.
Hi, can you hear me? It's Yenny DeRoche. I'm a citizen, resident of Worcester. So item 11.39A, the ARPA money, it looks like there's $1 million left in the business section for being obligated to things. I might have that wrong, but if we could please consider working with a startup group or an incubator, perhaps the Chamber's Startup Worcester, to provide startup funds to Black men and women, because the statistic nationally for Black men owning businesses is 3% of the startups in the country. So if we could help with that, that would be great. One way we could do that would be doing something like paying for the year of rent. With how much is in that, we could help start up so many different businesses in the city and start filling up some of our storefronts. 12D ties into that as well. It can help manage all of that and so much more. Please approve it. 12C, please approve it and send it to the city manager and Steve Raleigh. This rotary is a nightmare, and we need to daylight the sidewalks, put space for cars beyond the crosswalks so they don't hit people as they're accelerating. 12E, regarding the hotels, please factor in the Puller Parks decrease the amount of hotels that they're building when you're considering this. 10J, please approve it. On the libraries. 10K, please file it about the fire and police departments. It seems like somebody basically just forgot to submit something from 2020. 10L, please file this. The naturalization aspect of things has been done to death, but if this was a true concern, it would be a blanket for any position in the city, not just city council. Without that, it's just targeting people like Attell and Tu and trying to otherize them and make them second class. And it puts them on record in a second place as naturalized citizens. And if the worst were to come to pass and Trump were to become president again, and he's able to get his internment camps through the Enemies Act from the 1700s, it could put them in direct danger. We have a very large immigrant community. We are a sanctuary city. We really should not be doing this. And I also want to know how it got on the agenda in the first place as something that is probably unconstitutional and or against some law. And I want to know why it was sanitized on the agenda. Please vote to file. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
right, next speaker is Fred Taylor. I'm trying to resident now.
Good evening, Mr.
You
Mayor,
guys
City
can
Council,
fuck
Fred
yourself.
Taylor,
Fucking
Mr. President, President, I'm calling in support of 10J, which is free parking for people who visit the library. I think we should have did that a long time ago, so I hope the city council will consider that. I'm also calling in opposition of 10K. We don't need the colleges to have their own fire departments. We have a fire department here in Worcester, and I also believe it will create more problems and solve the problems. So I'm calling in opposition to that. 10L, I'm calling in opposition to that. This is a stunt. It's a stunt to sow division, a stunt to get attention, a stunt to inflame hate, a stunt to discourage future candidates. Hate has no place in the city of Worcester. You must be a citizen to vote, all right? So that cancels all the arguments that this petition has. I want to know, how did this petition, like everyone else, how did this get through? I asked the city council to not even entertain discussion with this and just file this item. Thank you.
All right, next speaker is William. I'm trying to resident now.
Hi, just to confirm, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So I've been listening all night. I'm Lillian, I'm a resident of Worcester. I've been a resident of Worcester for 22 years now. I moved to the US when I was 11 years old. And the fact that this is even an agenda item is so disappointing. So disappointing. So I'm not even going to talk about the 14th Amendment stuff. I just want to address specifically the things that the people that brought this up, that support this, have mentioned about the voter registration and the census. First off, the census asks if you are a citizen or not, because that is something that needs to be known. When it comes to running for city council, when it comes to registering to vote, you have to say whether you're a citizen, because that is part of the requirements to register to vote. The fact that they have not mentioned once that their requirement is that naturalized citizens have to actually present documentation, while citizens that were born in the US do not have to present any documentation. That's the issue. If you really cared about making sure that, everyone that wants to run for a position is a US citizen, then make it a blanket requirement. But that is not the requirement that you have here. The requirement that you are making is causing people like me, people like my parents, people like my sister, like my husband, to be a second-class citizen because we are naturalized citizens. The fact that you can stand up there and compare it to an I-9 when people that are non-US citizens can fill out an I-9, that is completely not even comparable. And then to say that, if you are getting on an airplane, don't you have to show ID? Yes, but I do not have to show that I'm a US
Can you record
citizen.
your comments, please?
Yes, I would like for the city councilors to file this and to specifically, each of you specifically, say that you are against it.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, next speaker is Andrew. I'm trying to resident now. From Andrew, we'll go to Eric Stroud.
Yes, thank you. As many other colleagues have already said, I'm asking you to reject and file 10L. This is xenophobic, racist, and frankly, just laughably bigoted. It's clear by just the sheer volume of people who have called in and shown up to the meeting to oppose this measure. You've had 3 in support, and by my count, about 45 in opposition. It's really just laughable that this was allowed on the agenda, but regardless of that, our city is great because of the immigrants that are here. We all gain by having a diverse population in our city. It is wonderful that these people are here, that people want to become citizens of our country and want to serve in elected office. It is shameful that the Worcester Republican City Committee would put forward such a measure, and it just shows how divisive and really sad that party has really become. I really urge the City Council, please reject this item in the strongest possible sense. Thank you.
Next speaker, Michelle.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Your name and city residence?
My name is Michelle Push. I live in District 5, and I just want to say that I oppose 10L. I hope all city councilors oppose and file 10L. I have nothing but love and respect for councilors Hadjiwai and Nguyen and every Worcester immigrant trying to make a living here, and nothing but disrespect and disgust for the people who made this petition. Marianne, Pam, and everyone and anyone making ugly faces and the people who let this item get on the city council agenda. This should be a welcoming space for civic engagement, and this was racist and xenophobic, and Worcester should be more welcoming in dealing with much more important issues, like supporting the item for toll-free parking at the library. Thank you.
Next speaker is Justin.
Thank you. My name is Justin Duffy. I'm a resident of Worcester in District 4, and I was originally calling in to express my opposition to 10L, but I want to take the opportunity to also speak in favor of free parking for the library. I think that was a great case made for a useful improvement to our city that would make things better, and it's just in stark opposition to what's obviously a disingenuous, racist dog whistle to perform a publicity stunt and get on the city council's agenda, wasting everyone's time with a nonsensical and unconstitutional proposal with 10L. Looking at the official Worcester Republican Committee website, I see there's a picture of Reagan on the front of their about page, and I'm not the biggest fan of Reagan, but in Reagan's farewell address to the nation, he referred to America as a shining city and said that the doors to that city are open to anyone with the will and the heart to get here. And it saddens me to see how far the Republican group here has strayed from that vision and seems to just be taken in by the xenophobia and bigoted positions of leaders like Donald Trump. So I ask the city council, please file 10L. Thank you.
And the last speaker is Shizoma. I'm trying to do it now. Yours?
Yeah, yes. Hello?
Yes, please say your name and city residence.
Yes, my name is Chizoma Nasike, and I'm from District 3 in Worcester, and I'm speaking as an immigrant who has become a naturalized citizen, but who has also owned businesses in Worcester and has employed countless number of people as a business owner in Worcester and paid taxes. And I look at when I go to employ someone and they're coming for an interview, and when I see people, I do not assume that this person looks like this, and so they are born in the US or they are born out of the US. When you make an assumption, that's when you're really wrong. And you find out that the person was not born in the US or was born in the US. So what is wrong with this proposal, which makes it a total dog whistle, very close to the election, to garner more votes for the Republican Party, is the way that it's worded. If it had good intention, it would have been worded in a way that everybody has to show their proof of citizenship. When I hire people on the I-9, I ask them, or proof of citizenship. And they add definite proofs from the back of the I-9. When you go to do a voter registration or census, those are not requirements. So is that where we're going to go to next? That people are going to be asked to file their naturalization papers for voter registration or for the census? Is that where we're going to go next? So I watched the ladies standing behind the speakers very disrespectfully, mouthing off at people, having a paper covering their mouths and mouthing off at different people and laughing at different people who came up in opposition. Very bad behavior. Very close to the election, we know the money came from the Republican Party to give them more credence, maybe to get more votes. But yes, thank you very much, and the city should not adopt this, please.
Thank you. Okay, yes. So myself, Council Hadjian, Council Russell. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and just want to thank everybody who came out and spoke tonight. It was debated originally when you speak in this or not, we suggested maybe we should just file and move on, but silence sometimes can hurt more than speaking. So, and this is a type of law that really feeds into the anti-immigrant rhetoric that's going on in this country right now. And also it's a personal attack on two of our city councils here in the city. I was trying to think of any other city council who maybe was a naturalized citizen. I think it was Jim Rowley, probably a couple of decades ago, who's now our city council. This is the same thing that was mentioned tonight that President Obama his birth certificate. Remember that? People asked for his birth certificate. This is outrageous then, it's outrageous today, and just as much this is outrageous. You know, today I was at a naturalization ceremony in the city of Worcester, where about 34 people were the oath, pledge of allegiance, became U.S. citizens, became Americans from all over the world. I was pretty proud to be there, because I'm pretty proud to be here in the city as a local city. I think, and for us, we can maybe ask later how it's going on the agenda here tonight, but I'm proud that we're a local city. We have opportunity for all new Americans that come here. And this is the type of sentiment, type of order that, wait, you say people not to participate because they're afraid. People, when you come to this country, people are afraid of government, is where they came from. And this is the type of government, this is the type of order that people, you don't understand how it actually hurts people who are not born here and come from another country where they're victimized and you come here for protection. That brings me back to, I don't know if everybody saw the special on Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and they talked about Springfield, Ohio. So it's absolutely outrageous. Our rhetoric, to take a good city, turn it into a tension between its citizens who all get along, by the way. Never an issue. The Asian community showed up in force, and they needed the Asian community in order to economically, so they could expand the economic development in that community. And for one person to take that, this is how it hurts. You have to be careful what you say, especially when you're a person of power. And you say something that outrageous about what they said about the Haitians in that city, and had a Republican government that defended that city. And because people look different, because people came from another country, and that's what this is all about. It's trying to, this was strategically placed. Let's right before an election. It could have been placed a year ago, could have been placed 7 months ahead of us, but it's strategically placed on tonight. So we could all talk about this. And people who believe, unfortunately, sometimes people believe this rhetoric that I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to vote to file this. My motion is to file this today here because we worked too hard in this city over the last 10, 15 years make sure we're a community that is pro-civic engagement. Pro-civic engagement. People participate from all walks of life. I go in that community all the time, as mentioned here tonight. All different people from all over the world. Make sure they feel welcome, make sure they feel safe. The last thing I want people to feel unsafe here in the city of Worcester, which I don't want to allow to happen. And this brings us to some of the stuff we should be doing, the Civics Academy, and the city clerk is starting up again, and really get adults involved, civics in the city of Worcester, and understand what they're doing. So I just want to propose this, my motion is to file this, and I will not feed into the anti-immigrant rhetoric, which I think is like anti-immigrant. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Tallahassee High, District 5, followed by Councilor Russell.
Thank you, Mayor Petty, for those words and your loud condemnation. And thank you to the community for showing up and supporting a Worcester that loves everyone, regardless of country of origin. Your solidarity tonight and every time is a powerful testament to our shared values. I extend my gratitude to the Democratic State Party Committee, the state's Young Democrats, and the Worcester City Democratic Committee for their statements of support and condemnation. And to my son, Daniel, I am eternally proud to be your mom. Thank you, Worcester Republican City Committee, Ms. Carroll, for uniting our residents in this beautiful unity and solidarity moment. Shining light onto something is the best way to take away its power. Love and unity are how we respond to exclusionary ideologies. The ideas outlined in the Worcester Republican City Committee's petition, the chairwoman and any members of it who endorsed this petition reek of cowardice. You are so fearful of people who challenge a bigoted version of Worcester that you cannot say the quiet part out loud. So I will say it for you. You want Councilor Nguyen, Councilor Delhajiai, former committee member Jerma Kamara, former candidates Domenica Perron, Katia Norford, Edson Montero, Jesse Gibson, Aurora Surcadier, and future naturalized American citizens running for office walk up to the city clerk's window and answer, "Are you American? Show me your papers." Your vision of creating 2 lines on the way to the ballot box, one for naturalized American citizen candidates, and one for those born in this country, may speak to some in this community, but they certainly do not to most Worcester residents. Even though you know very well that only registered voters who are either US-born citizens or naturalized citizens like Councilor Nguyen and I are allowed to run for elected office, that's not enough for the Republican City Committee. They demand candidates like us and the ones that spoke tonight prove we are American enough by showing our papers. Let me ask this again. Where else in history have we heard this before? As individuals, born of different struggles, we have crossed continents, escaped wars, and watched our parents toil hard without complaining and without hating anyone. Ms. Caroline, I want you to know, my mother,
Direct your comments to the chair, please.
through the chair to Ms. Carroll, I would like her to know that my mother, who escaped war and brought me here as a 19-year-old, texted me before this meeting, told me to take a deep breath, and told me that she couldn't be here because this was way too emotional for her. She asked me this morning, Mr. Mayor, do these people know how hard we have fought to bring you here? So we reject any attempts to separate us into categories that satisfy your divisive nature. Your unconstitutional ideas and the reasoning behind them brought us the Irish need not apply not the long ago. not intimidated by your fear tactics, will run for office again and bear witness to other immigrants, threading together the stories of our parents and grandparents who built this city with their hands, their hearts, their shoulders, and their backs. Our children and our grandchildren will tell our stories of survival, resilience, and public service. What stories will your grandchildren share about you? While you were granted the freedom to broadcast your nativist ideas to the city council, you thought xenophobia would earn you a few website clicks and radio interviews. Take a look around. You stand alone, surrounded by your exclusionary ideas, and a united community in solidarity with current, past, and future immigrant candidates. And right here, to city councilors, naturalize your citizens. I'm afraid to challenge your bigoted ideas. We got elected twice, and there is nothing that you can do about that. Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, I would like to read, and I would ask my colleagues to ask for a suspension of the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules, Mr. Chair, for what?
Would you send the second 5? Go.
This petition mirrors the same calls from individuals and toxic pages who have repeatedly demanded that I show my naturalization papers. I'd like to read for the public and all my colleagues a few snippets. Quote, when are you going to release your naturalization papers proving you are an American citizen? You keep saying you are, but you haven't shown proof. Quote, Hajia has never posted her naturalization papers or photos of the ceremony. All you have to do is post where and when with documents and photos of you becoming an American citizen. Quote, you should prove you are an actual citizen. Quote, she just might be a citizen, kind of like the former president from Kenya might be a citizen. They question my citizenship, but they never have the integrity or the courage it took my parents and Councilor White's parents and thousands of other families to become American citizens. I am here to stay, and I've got nothing to prove to those of you who seek to divide us. We have proudly served our city as elected officials, organizers, educators, youth workers, and policy experts. And our commitment to empathy, unity, and all communities and people is unshakable. We stand against this petition and on the right side of history, along with all Worcester residents who love and value as immigrants. The Worcester community, overwhelming rejection of this petition's birtherism, should remind you that extremist ideas will not stand unchallenged. It is time for you to retract them and throw them in the garbage where they belong. We belong here, and we are here to stay. Thank you.
No, we're not allowed to speak, I'm sorry, it's against the rules. You had any chance to earlier? No.
It will help.
No. No, Councilor Russell. No, we're gonna move on. Councilor Russell, go.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if you go into my office, my personal offices, my real estate office, you will see in the corner of the office, among all the other clutter that I have there, the voter registration card of my grandfather, who came here from Lebanon. It didn't even say Lebanon on it, it said Syria, because the people that filled out the papers didn't know enough. Well, what's the difference between Syria or Lebanon? And I think, Mr. Chairman, that someday, not too far from now, people that will inherit the city of Worcester will look back at tonight and look like I look at that document in my office, and I say, gee, something to be proud about, something that when my grandfather came here, that he was hoping that his kids and his grandchildren would take part in the city. And I think that's the hope that we all have. Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm a member of the Democratic City Committee. I was a former member of the Democratic State Committee. I've been a Democrat all my life. But this issue doesn't go Democrat, Republican. This issue goes to basically to try to undermine the confidence in the electoral process here in our city and in our nation. Mr. Chairman, this is a hateful petition, no matter how poorly you look at it. How dare these folks come before us tonight? How dare they? And question anyone that's a citizen of the city of Worcester, of the country, of the United States, to run for office and to have to show documentation. How dare they come in this chamber or go to the district that I represent, whether it be on Vernon Hill or Grafton Hill or anyone else. Those neighborhoods, the generations have changed, maybe the languages have changed, maybe the countries of origins have changed, but the story has always been the same. And that's the story of Worcester. The story of Worcester, where immigrants come to this city for a better life, come to the city because they hope that their families and their families will have a better life, and the ones down the road, their grandchildren will have a better life. Mr. Chairman, I only fear, like you, Mr. Chairman, I go to so many different ethnic events and over the course of our service here in the council. But you don't have to go to those events. All you have to do is talk to the people that we represent. Whether they call us for fixing a pothole, or they call us because their street isn't plowed correctly. I'm sure it'll be plowed correctly now because of the gentleman that's in the back of the room. But, Mr. Chairman, the message is the same. It doesn't matter who they are or where they came from. The message is the same. But my fear, Mr. Chairman, is all of us have gone down that rabbit hole, following these folks down that rabbit hole tonight. And that's my fear, because they're going to get press out of it, and that's what they're doing this for, let's face it. They're doing this tonight so they can get some publicity. They're doing this so they can get some publicity. Well, let the message be heard loud and clear, wherever it goes, all over the country, all over the state, that the city of Worcester is a welcoming community, and this stops here. It stops in the city of Worcester, and it stops in this chamber tonight. And it stops, Mr. Chairman, by the unanimous vote of this city council, which I'm sure we will have to file this item. That's why I'm here to support it. File it there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Council King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to just begin by saying the solution here in the city of Worcester is not separation. The solution here in Worcester is not separation. As my colleague just mentioned, when you take a look at this petition and what they're trying to do, it's painful. I wanted to begin by saying thank you to my colleagues who are naturalized citizens. I appreciate their service and sacrifice, Mr. Chairman. I'm very proud that, and I've said this a million times on this floor, that we serve on the most diverse city council in the history of the city. Folks of different religions, identities, sexual orientation, fears, beliefs, political parties, all that, Mr. Chairman. All walks of life that reflect our city. Would be more diverse? Perhaps. Would we be? Perhaps, Mr. Chairman. But the solution is not separation here in the city of Worcester. It's very clear what the reasoning is for this petition. Very clear. The last item on this, and must not have, maybe they didn't mean to include this is a good and free way to get the Worcester Republican City Committee name better known. Have we gone down a rabbit hole, Mr. Chairman? Perhaps. Perhaps, but this is utter nonsense. Trickle-down economics has been shown not to work. Trickle-down xenophobia, racism, fear, separation has made inroads in the city. has made inroads in our country and in our Commonwealth. It's certainly trickling down. Simple answer to this petition is no. I've been very clear since this came out, not on my watch, and very confident, not on the watch of this committee, of this city council. This path that we're on matters. We've heard that a process is in place. A process is in place already. As elected officials, Mr. Chairman, there's a lot required of us. There's a lot required of our administration and our city manager. The concerns are real that this will not just give the publicity that they're looking for, and it will, but it's also to cast the city in the correct light. It's also intended, Mr. Chairman, to make folks who are naturalized citizens think again, hesitate. Now, this particular petitioner I've known for quite some time in a professional capacity, Mr. Chairman. I've always known him to be a good and just person. This petition, and I'm gonna make up a word, is ungood and unjust. Part of what we do here is a reflection of our values and our families. I stand before you as a first-generation American. My parents came from the island of Bermuda. My brother is a naturalized citizen who may be a judge in short order in one of our states, Mr. Chairman. My brother served as a major in the U.S. Army, a retired major. I stand before you as a social worker. That's the line. My father-in-law came as a political refugee from Laos. Multiple challenges there. This is a personal matter. It's certainly a personal matter. Part of what we're required to be as a city is adept, to be adept, to be able to adapt to all of the needs in our city. That requires an elected body that reflects all of those things. So it's not just about looking forward. Sure, we must look forward, Mr. Chairman. We must always be in a formal motion moving forward. But we cannot do, what we will not do, what I will not support, is that we should never see our eyes we should never see ourselves through narrow eyes of limitation. Limitation of our community, limitation of civic engagement, limitation of life engagement. And again, we talked about what the roots of this is, political roots. And we know that when you shed light on roots and you expose it, it dries up, Mr. Chairman. I totally renunciate and disavow the tenets and the purpose that is requested in the course of action of this petition, Mr. Chairman.
You're 7-5.
Thank you. We can't afford to exclude, limit, or chill valuable voices. Can't afford to do it. Now, I know that on this body, we have former leaders of the Democratic City Committee, Republican City Committee, and it speaks to who we are. We're able to manage our way through local government in a way that's responsive and responsible. And yet I sit here in this moment. I sit here in this moment with an attempt to gain notoriety and to have folks think twice and to feel as though they are other. I've sat here and I've watched my colleagues be targeted repeatedly. And for this to come through now, in the midst of what's going on in our country, in the midst of what's going on with the battle between the political parties, it's disgusting, Mr. Chairman. It's disgusting. I'm looking forward to unanimous roll call vote on this. And I hope the message is clearly sent. The solution is not separation here in the city of Worcester. We will continue to come together and fight all the isms, one by one, till we're done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am a proud Vietnamese refugee. I want to say that again. I am a proud Vietnamese refugee. I am a proud Vietnamese refugees. Let that echo through the chambers and claim all the spaces of City Hall, because I am proud to be a Vietnamese refugee. I want to thank all the community folks who came through and really showed the love and support of Worcester and the welcomeness that we have here. I find this petition extremely hateful and xenophobic. It is absolutely malicious and violent to request any candidates running for elected office to be treated different just because they were not born in the US. This petition creates more barriers for communities of color and immigrants to build power and have their values represented in Worcester. We cannot allow white supremacy and conservatives to continue to harm our communities and prevent future leaders from diverse immigrant backgrounds and a beautiful city, a gateway city like Worcester, for them to be prevented to lead Worcester. To be quite honest, I wasn't gonna really waste my breath on this petition. It is completely ridiculous and unworthy of our time and efforts. As Toni Morrison said, the very serious function of racism is a distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over your reason for being. And I will not explain my being, not for anyone. I changed the course of history. Go educate yourself about it.
Direct your comments to the chair.
I can look at you if you want. Go educate yourself about it. I will not explain my being. Go educate yourself about it. And so I just want to say that I do support this motion to file it, and I am disappointed that this even arrived on our agenda tonight. And I want to remind all of us, like many speakers, that we are on Indigenous land, and this hate has no standing here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I gotta be honest, when I saw this, it just made no sense to me. It made no sense to me. And as I said here, I just wrote down these words that continue to come up: hate, outrage, disgusting. You know, it's really tough. But the great thing about Worcester is because of those words comes strength, comes Worcester stands in unity, right? And as you see that's what's going on here tonight. The painful part for me is creating these barriers for someone like my mother who became naturalized and is obviously very proud of that, but proud of her country as well, right? We don't want to take away from them being proud of where they're from. But I just imagine my father being from Puerto Rico, people don't realize they're American if you're Puerto Rican, and showing up to vote for their son and being asked that question. Honestly, I don't know the reaction you'd get from my father. I'm not very happy about that. But my mom would probably be deeply, deeply hurt to be proud of who she is and what she's done to be naturalized to represent the U.S. But the also pain part is through the chair. I remember an incident that took place. I won't use that person's name, but that person knows exactly what I'm talking The people you're talking about were the ones that came to your defense. I'll say it again. The people you're talking about are the ones that came to your defense at that moment when your husband was around. Those young men stood up for you. Those men made sure nothing happened to you. And I was there to witness it firsthand. So let's remember that. Because you're not coming to their defense now.
You're right.
Let's remember that.
You're right, and I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have Council Purcell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I stand here today firmly against the petition to block naturalized citizens from running for municipal office. This measure is not only divisive, but harmful to our community and to the very foundation of our democracy. I listened carefully to all of the comments about divisiveness, how this is a stunt, hateful, has no value, comments from business owners, teachers, parents, former and current elected officials, pastors, all of these people who took time out of their day to come down to City Hall on a Tuesday evening when they could have been at home with their families, and they all took the time to support our diverse community. And for the record, 54 people spoke against this, 3 spoke in support. But the comment that stuck with me most was from Edson Montero, who ran for public office, and he asked, what else do we need to do to prove we belong? What an awful and heartbreaking way to feel. Running for public office is a great opportunity to contribute to your community and help others. It's also a sacrifice. You're knocking doors, you're away from your family, you're studying, you're in the public eye, you're constantly scrutinized on social media. That was awful. As a proud member of the League of Women Voters, I've had the privilege of volunteering at numerous naturalization ceremonies right here in Worcester. I've witnessed the pure joy and immense pride on the faces of our new citizens as they take the oath, officially joining the fabric of our nation. League members like myself are often the very first person these new Americans speak to after they receive that final stamp of approval. And for the record, to ask for photos from a naturalization ceremony is so inappropriate. You don't even know how many people do it alone. They come to this country by themselves, take the time, spend the money, jump through hoops to become a naturalized citizen, and no one is even there for them to take their picture. And many times, as a member of the League, we're the first person to offer them the opportunity to register to vote. And it's a moment that symbolizes their full inclusion in the democratic process. And I have yet to go through a naturalization ceremony where I haven't hugged someone, I haven't cried, I haven't left feeling so amazing and happy and proud. And that is something I recommend to every single person. Go one time and just see how beautiful it is and how hard people work to be here. These individuals have worked hard, they've embraced our values and made meaningful contributions to our community. To turn around and tell them that despite their dedication to this country, there are additional barriers for them to run for office, this is not only unjust, it's an insult to their commitment to the very ideals we hold dear. We should be encouraging civic engagement from all corners of our community, not erecting artificial barriers in front of those who worked so hard to be a part of our city's future. Naturalized citizens bring unique perspectives and experiences that enrich our city. They deserve the opportunity to serve just like anyone else born here. Let us show Worcester's naturalized citizens that we truly value inclusion and participation. Let's stand against this harmful petition and send a clear message that in Worcester, we welcome everyone to the table, regardless of where they're born. Thank you.
Councilmember Carlson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too want to to stand here tonight and say, this item had no place on this agenda. I have no idea, and I guess we'll learn why and how. This item for me, Mr. Chairman, as you well know, and all my colleagues here know, I'm a proud member, 20 years, with the Massachusetts Democratic State Party. And I'm very proud to stand here tonight to say that they were very quick to put a statement out about this item on our agenda. We all know why this lined up on our agenda. The timing of this certainly says it all to all of us here in the city of Worcester. I too am an immigrant daughter. My dad and his family came here, and they paved the way for my family that's here. For us to have to talk about this tonight because someone decided to put something as hateful, and I will say that this is hateful. I spent 16 years on the Democratic City Committee. I held every office that there was on that city committee, and I held the president's position on the Democratic City Committee, and I'm proud to say that we were always working and welcoming everyone. We never pulled this kind of nonsense going after people who have every right in the world to represent those where they live. Mr. Chairman, I too stand here tonight, like you yourself. Yes, this does need to be filed, but the mere fact that any party could think that this gives them notoriety is really sickening. For me, it is sickening, because you know what? If this is what you need to do to become relevant, I'm not quite sure where the hell you're going, because you don't represent those, whether they live in the city of Worcester or whether they live in this country. Because, Mr. Chairman, as you know, and we all know, and again, I have friends on both sides of the aisle, and I love them. I don't understand why, and what difference that this makes for this Republican City Committee. The only thing that goes through my mind since this item hit was, is this something that because it's what's happening nationally, that you think that you can make people fearful, that you can take away people's rights to vote? Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, maybe they will get some headlines, but Worcester will stand there proud and say, you can take all that shit and go home. Thank you. I apologize.
Okay. Councilor Berger?
It's gonna be hard to follow. I was debating whether I should just let my vote speak for my thoughts on this one. Seeing how everybody, virtually almost everybody has spoken, and I have some of my own thoughts to add, and I take a few moments to do that. I don't think this council speaks with unanimity very often. And that's okay, that's a democracy. But I think what strikes a nerve with a lot of people, myself included, is the whole notion of immigration and naturalization. I think every one of us, whether our own family came and were naturalized citizens, or like my family, first generation, many others on this council, first and second generations, most of our families went to hell and back to be able to become American citizens. Now, my own family chose to come to America despite staying 4 or 2 years and work toward Europe, risking their lives again, because they believed in the American dream. When I first ran for city council, I remember the night before the election, one of the things I did was drive back to the neighborhood where my parents first settled on Vernon Hill and look at some of the signs that were supporting me and other signs that supported others. Think about what a good decision my parents made to come to America, because at the end of the day, It didn't really matter whether you became a citizen yesterday, or whether you became a citizen 10 years ago, or whether you weren't here as a citizen yourself. So this, I think, strikes a nerve with everyone, because I think there's a sense of fairness we all believe we should be operating in. And I don't think this really is a sense of fairness. I think it reeks with a sense of unfairness. I don't know what the intention was. I'm not going to pile it on. But I know I called the clerk's office when I first read it, because I thought maybe I missed something, and it was confirmed to me that you have to be a registered voter, which means you have to be a registered citizen. So to me, this doesn't really accomplish anything other than some of the hurt and some of the feelings that are displayed tonight. So I'll certainly support the motion to file. I just wanted to add one other short story. When my parents came to America and landed at Union Station Christmas Eve 1949, somebody was there selling American flags. They told my parents that in order to stay in America, in Worcester, you had to own an American flag. My parents asked them how much it would cost. I said, how much do you have on you? My parents emptied their pockets, and the person said, well, it costs more than that. But I feel bad for you, so I'm going to give you the flag for whatever you have. Of course, he did it to everybody. He was probably the first charlatan they met in Worcester, Massachusetts. But they displayed that flag on that street more often. The people that were born in America displayed their flag. They knew every holiday that that flag was supposed to be displayed on. And I just think that their experience made them as much of an American, maybe more so, than sometimes people like myself maybe take it for granted being born here. I don't think we should do anything to separate who's born here and who's not. Once you believe in America, you believe in America, and that should be the end of the story. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Council Corwin.
Thank you. As usual, I will make this very short and sweet. I will let my vote be witness to support my colleagues and support the mayor's motion to file. Thank you.
Once you're voted, her colleagues are the people who donated to her.
Council King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a couple of quick questions in the last couple of minutes. Only because this has been a quite extended public process. There were some questions that were asked pertaining to this particular item getting on the agenda, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to give the opportunity to our clerks, to the chair, to the clerk, if you can kind of explain the rationale for putting this on the agenda. I am a person I do not believe that it was mistakenly put, and I don't think it was appropriately placed upon the agenda. I would like the public to hear the rationale behind that. And if that's to the clerk or to the solicitor, whomever, someone can please speak to that before we end this process.
Through the mayor, or the chair, to the council. So basically, the petitioner came forward. We followed the rule of the city council, which states that we have to consult the solicitor for the petition being proper before this body tonight. The solicitor confirmed that it would be proper if it stated a charter change request, and that's what's before you tonight. I don't know if the solicitor had any more to add to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the solicitor, if you could just explain some questions about constitutionality, etc. If you could just speak and make a public statement so folks can have an understanding of our process. Through the chair.
Through the chair of the council, picking up on what the clerk had to say, we looked at this and it was asking the city council to come up with new policies for making the eligibility to elected office in the city. So I said, it's asking for a charter change that's within the scope of the council's authority, and that's what Rule 11 is. That matters have to be for the city council, beyond the authority of the city council and jurisdiction. So, not looking at the content of the, judging the content of the petition, it's not for me to just put my judgment in front of the council's judgment. I think what you're seeing is what I anticipated was a robust discussion, and if the council feels this is a warrant, then it will vote it down. If the council want to go forward, then it will vote. But it wasn't for me to say this is an acceptable.
Bullshit. It's exactly his job. Bullshit. That is your job.
Don't agree that it's on its face. It's unconstitutional. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just in closing, thank you to the solicitor. I just want to make this statement. You know, I think that some of the most patriotic people that we have are our immigrants, are our naturalized citizens, are our refugees. I know that firsthand from my family. And this for me is also a process of reclaiming what it is to be a patriot here in Worcester. There's been a lot of rhetoric around that. It's been co-opted. And this vote, again, will send a resounding message about that, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and I think we have as I think correct, the city manager person does not get involved with things on the agenda, so everybody know that. So the motion is to file. All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman, roll call, please.
Roll call. So can we have roll call? Motion to file.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Argier?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Moore Carlson?
Yes.
Council Nian?
Yes.
Council Ida?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Tui? and Mayor Petty?
Yes.
Bullshit.
Okay, we have, going back to the agenda, 7A, 7C, hold the hearing, and some motion to open the hearing for 7A, B, and C. Anybody opposed to these items? See nobody opposed, motion to close the hearing, and a motion to adopt. All those in favor? Motion ordered.
Bullshit.
Executive session, we'll see what we have at the end of the night. And, petitions, 10A, for the public works. For the fair postal order, 10B, 10E, for the crafts and parking. For the fair postal order, 10F to 10I. So the hearing date on October 22nd, 2024. All those in favor, also ordered. 10J, Captain Holmes requested that free parking for visitors of the Worcester Public Library branch, and the city manager. All those in favor, also ordered. Michael Rendon requests city council form colleges in Worcester, the city of Worcester will no longer provide police fire department support, and therefore said colleges must provide funding support, maintain
Motion to file.
on-campus police and fire departments. Motion to file. Those in favor, opposed, so ordered. We already did 10L.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think the resolution, I don't think we actually took a roll call.
Oh, we didn't. Well, that's right, we did not. So go back to 10, what's that, 8A? So 8A, on Council King's motion, that was for, about Ortiz. So roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Argier?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Moore Carlson? Council Nian?
Yes.
Council Ida?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Petty?
Yes. We have non-city council appointments. We have 11.1A and B. So, some motions to file. I want to thank them for the service of our affairs and for the planning board. And most file those in favor of also order. Recommend appointment to the vote of the council, Michael Goodwin, advisory committee status of women. Roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio?
Yes.
Council Argier?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Moore Carlson? Council Nian?
Yes.
Council Ida?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell? Yes. Council Tui, Mayor Petty?
Yes, we have 11.3A, B, taken correctly to advertise the proposed ordinance.
11.3A.
I'm sorry, 11.3A, B. These are on the negotiated contracts. Motion to advertise, taken collectively, roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Calorio? Council
Yes.
Argier?
Yes.
Council King?
Yes.
Council Moore Carlson? Council Nian?
Yes.
Council Ida?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Tui, Mayor Petty?
Yes. 11.4A, Transparency Communication Article update on the Community Preservation Act. So, people will be ready in mid-spring, or the applications will be available mid-spring or is it January? Spring? Okay, so it's gonna be a spring. Councilor Berman?
Can I just ask a question through you to Mr. Don? With respect to the CPA funds, if us as, any of us as city councilors want to advocate for particular use, do we advocate on the council, or do we advocate to the CPA? In other words, what's the process to communicate to the board that we're asking for certain items to be looked at?
Through the chair to the councilor, I believe the most appropriate venue to do that would be when the Community Preservation Committee has their meetings in terms of evaluating the proposals and applications that they receive through that process. Once they do come up with their recommendations, it still does require a city council vote for appropriation of those funds, but I think in the context of evaluating those proposals, my understanding is that when it does come to the city council for appropriation, it's similar to the budget process where you have certain authority within that request for appropriation, but not at that point the evaluation recommendations of the committee will have been completed. So I think it's during that process to kind of weigh in and maybe attend one of those committees and testify.
Are they, through the chair, will they be on a schedule that we will know about?
Through the chair of the council, yes, they'll all be publicly advertised as an official board and commission of the city, so they'll be publicly advertised like any other board and commission.
To the chair of the council, I just want to add to that. I think if I'm trying to get at your question, if you or the council has a desire for a particular project, an area that they want to give the city design, the city can also be an applicant. The administration can be an applicant to these funds. So the request can come from the council to myself, the administration, and then we can then submit an application based on those needs to the community.
I know we're a little bit uncharted waters, because it doesn't. Thank you, that's all.
Send that to the development committee, those in favor of the motion supported. Public Works, source of information communication relative to 2024 fall leaf collection program, so I think it'll be on November 4th. So, everybody get ready?
Yes, sir.
Council here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I don't think I'm sorry.
We are on 11.7A. We're on the leaf collection.
Yeah. Just a quick question. So, just a quick question, I guess through the chair to the administration. It says residents will be notified anyways, which is good. But one is to alert Worcester. Is there a way to figure out how many have already signed up for alert Worcester to get an idea? Do you have it now?
To the chair of the council, we can be able to provide it to you, maybe an email or what have you, but I think we have the ability to know what residents have signed up. We wouldn't know specifically who the resident is because sometimes it's their just the email, their phone numbers that are signed up to them. But there's somewhat of a way that we can identify the particular areas that people are signed up.
Okay, thank you. And so, leads me to my next question to the chair. It says here, Chambers Street, Wednesdays 8:30 to 10 p.m. and 299 Clark Street, Wednesdays 8:30 to 3 p.m. But at the Millbury site on Wednesdays, it's 8:30 to 7 p.m. I know the 3 p.m. is probably pretty tough for people that get out of work at 5 and they want to get the drop stuff off. I myself would love that. Is there a reason why we don't, like, that's those other sites are open to, one site open to 7 and the other two are only open to 3? Just because I think it'll help out the residents even more, because this is further away from Chandler and Park Street.
Commissioner?
Through the chair, it is my understanding that those were the hours that we used last year. They seem to work well. There may be some prohibition or reasons why we don't have the extended hours in the other two locations, which we can certainly check into and see that.
All right, that'd be great. And then one last thing, it says residents will be notified, Twitter, Facebook, like I said, other places. One of the things that when I was running for council, one of the major concerns is just residents not getting that information. Either it says here 24 to 48 hours, but I can remember, I believe it was during election time, they were doing leaf pickup on want to say Duane Street or Bryant Street around there. At the same time, there was a project on the road, so the road was being torn up. They were doing street pickup, and it was an election time. So I just want to make sure that when we do have these street cleanups, that there's no other projects going on. Because I've seen many times before, because this project is going on, police, they're just not able to pick it up. There's a way to make sure to look ahead for that stuff.
Counselor, obviously we would work to very hard to make sure that we pick up the leaves on every street throughout the city. And at the same time, we all better recognize that with the winter season coming, everybody is trying to catch up and get their work done before the winter. So I think that our crews have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the wherewithal to work around those impediments, should they exist, so that we can get leaves collected on each and every street. We will try to give notice, as indicated in that memorandum, 24 to 48 hours. There are multiple outlets by which people can avail themselves to understand and know when we will be in their neighborhood. So this is an effort that we put a lot of pride in. We need a little bit of cooperation from the abutters, and we seem to get it every year. So I'm expecting that we're going to have a very successful leaf collection program. Thank you.
And I appreciate that, and that's, as a council, that's one thing I want to make sure that the residents know, the brothers know that, you know, that there's a serious process to this, and there's levels to this, and we need their support as well. So as much information I can pass along is why I'm having this conversation, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Welcome back. Okay, so we can file that in. All those in favor of postal order. Communication on the tree planting plan for fiscal 2025. Public Works. Those in favor of postal order. Communication on the revised Lead Copper Road. Which I found really interesting. You send it to Public Works. Those in favor?
So, no, this is great stuff. The only question I have is, the residents are notified. When do they have to notify the city? I didn't see anywhere on there. I think they once they get the addresses of the locations of the properties, the city has 30 days. And then to notify the residents. When do the residents get back to
the lead in the copper road?
Yes. Can you tell me what number that is again?
11.7C.
Yes. So right, it says upon completion and submittal of inventory searchable online database October 16, 2024, the city will have 30 days to notify the owners of any building served by either a lead service line or service line unknown. The notification letter saying, I just like to know what is the timeline for property owners to get back to the city? Because of this, I guess it's saying that they're a service line. So it's more of just understanding which the property owner can initiate a work order for office to schedule an investigation to determine their service line in the city. So when's so if they're notified, you know, when's the return on that? It's 30 days, the residents have to understand.
Mr. Moore?
Through the chair, as indicated in here, we're expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500. I think I put 1,000 in my report, but it's close to 1,500 locations where we go. We will identify as being unknown. We will notify those homeowners that the service line delivering water to their house is of unknown material. Again, the good news is Worcester never allowed lead connections. We've never found one yet in our 46,000 locations that we have surveyed. So there is no reason that we think we would find one. However, once we notify the homeowner, they can get back to us whenever they want. So it's at their schedule. Our obligation is to just let them know that they have a water service that we have categorized as unknown, and that because of the EPA language could be lead. There's no reason for us, however, to believe that it is lead. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So, Council King?
Yeah, I apologize, you ran into the tree item.
You go back.
Okay, I just, as we don't know.
Yeah, well, this is, we finish this one here, we're going to send out the Public Works Council, want that Public Works, no, file? File, okay, motion to file, all those in favor, opposed, so reported. We'll go back to B, for tree clearing plan for fiscal year 2025.
Yeah, just want that in the committee deals with urban trees and environment. So we'll have that discussion, as defined here. My committee, perhaps in both. Like the tree commissioner and all that stuff.
I know those are the trees, those are the.
I didn't make this committee. Committee, we can discuss the trees.
Council Russell?
We got the whole thing.
Council Russell is fine with it. Council Priscilla?
Can we split it? Or I'll just come to your committee, you take it and I'll come to the meeting.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, all those in favor, opposed, so reported. Okay. The treasury information communicates relative to the best course of action to repair or replace the pedestrian bridge and the next Illinois, Crystal and Canterbury streets. That will work well. Okay, those in favor, opposed, so reported. Treasury information communicates relative to implementation of the 25 miles per hour statutory speed limit comes your way January 2nd. So send that to traffic council, Cora.
Thank you. I just have a quick question for the commissioner, through the chair to the commissioner. It was good to see that there's yard signs, in this as well. Because I did already get a couple, emails that they would like yard signs, to, alert people of the reductions of speed limit. How do they get the warning signs, and if they do they have to, or are you just gonna go knocking on people's houses and put them on major streets? I don't know what the process is through the chair.
Through the chair to the council, we're asking residents to contact our office at mobility@worcesterma.gov to request the signs. Then we'll make sure that they're available to them. But contacting the Department of Transportation Mobility is the best way to get us lawn signs.
Is there, through the chair, is there any kind of requirements, like they have, obviously they should be on a busy street, the visibility, I mean, you don't want them on a dead end. I mean, or should I just filter out the calls to your office?
Through the chair, we're happy to speak with everyone who's interested in having a sign. So we'd like to see those on busier streets, but we'll see how much demand we have for them.
Okay, great, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Refer that to traffic and parking. Those in favor, opposed, so reported. We have, water department, treasury information communication on the opinion regarding, we're gonna hold council has asked to go 11.15A and B under privilege. So now we're on 11.15C, treasury information communication relative to update the negotiation with Child Spectrum. This is that through public service and transportation. So those in favor, Councilman O'Dowson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I know that this council has asked in terms of the senior discount. I just feel like this document doesn't really give us what we need. So, for example, is it that we are saying to seniors that they need to call the cable company and apply for that? And now, in this document that we received, the communication says that they've done a new different program because they've lost several customers. Is that what that's saying? There's a lot of questions in this document from, quite frankly, from the administration. I think we need some of these questions answered because several months ago we talked about the senior discount and we're still in the same place today that we were several months ago. How is it that the senior program is going to be laid out at Charter? Do the people need to call them? It appears in this document that they finally have somebody on board who knows that, because I know previously, everybody who called, they said, no, we don't have a senior discount. So, through the chair to the city manager, do we have any better information than what we have in this package? Because I gotta tell you, this left a lot of questions. Number one, what was the discount before? When is it we said that we were okay with them reducing the discount? Do they have the right to reduce that discount? And if they do? I feel like that it's like the cable company, and not to be, but I feel like the cable company at this point is trying to snow the snow lady.
Through the chair of the council, this letter that we received from Charter is telling us on a couple of different occasions we've had discussions with them on the renewal process. Our lead attorney, the outside counsel, brought up the senior discount. What did you do with Charter to make this work better? They're saying that they now have done training with the customer service representatives, they're getting a reduction in people getting the wrong answer. The discount itself, they have not dropped the amount of the discount. They're reading the license in one way, it only applies if you have only basic cable. We have not agreed to that yet. We held that out as an issue that we're going to circle back to, but we believe that it's value, the percentage discount, what's the cost of basic, even if you're not getting just basic. So that's an argument that's ongoing right now. But this was just to say they've seen a drop in the customers' complaints. Yes, people need to call Charter to apply for a discount or apply through the cable services division. They can assist individual subscribers as well.
So, I guess through the chair to the solicitor, what I'd like to see for us is number one, what was the discount previously? And what are we looking at for a discount moving forward on the seniors? And I guess the next question is so now they're saying it's on basic cable, just basic cable and not the full. If you were somebody who, you're a senior and you decided that you wanted every pay station, are they saying at this point that you don't have a discount? Was that the way it was before? And Mr. Chairman, I think what this council had asked for previously is whatever that discount was that we were getting, that's minimally what we're looking for going forward.
Through the chair of the council, the amount of the discount has not changed. They've not reduced the discount. They consistently interpret the contract to say it's only applicable to getting basic only. I'm saying it says 40% of the value of the basic tier. So if you're getting beyond basic tier, you can still say, okay, what's it? If you're just getting basic, if it's $10, you're going to get 20% off of that $10. That's going to be your discount. That's a current license issue that that's a sort of a side issue we're dealing with on negotiations. We haven't addressed with Charter what's going forward with any new license on Charter on senior discount. So,
okay, thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, the other question that I have is, in reading this document, the document basically is saying now the seniors need to be income eligible. That was not, it doesn't say exactly how I just said it, but if you read this document, basically now what it's saying is that there's a criteria my understanding is previously, it wasn't based on income for a senior discount.
Through the chair of the council, no, it has been. The last two licenses always had that eligibility, of social security or if they're on disability payments. That's been in since I think the 2010 license.
So the eligibility is you have to be on social security or disability. It's not income driven through the chair to Mr. Trainer.
That's what I meant by income driven, is social security. But it's not like it caps it off at a certain amount of income. You don't apply to it, you don't qualify for that. So, okay, this was what your question was, but it's a social security or disability income payments. But it's not like if you make more than $40,000, you don't qualify for this. It's not that kind of.
Okay, well, I'm just going to say that reading this document, that's what it said to me. So I'd like us to have some clarification on some of these things so that we know. And then my last question is, I guess at some point when this is negotiated and completed, how is it that we're going to notify seniors that they should be talking to charter for their senior discount? Seems how charter charge on this.
Through the chair of the council, I would think that going forward, we would do public service announcements on the letting people know about the eligibility. I don't know what we've done in the past to get the word out.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we,
to the chair, I remember at one point we had a robust number of people coming in. I remember working with Judy Warren coming up with a form for people to fill out to get their application. We had a lot of people when we sort of tailed off at some point. But,
right, I just say through the chair to the solicitor, I know since I've been here, I learned about the senior discount through one of the previous board members. So, but thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Jim, I would just like an update from, not update, I'd like just to encourage the city manager to be responsive to prior order that's still outstanding, pertaining to legal remedies on behalf of our seniors, in relation to hopefully get permission received previously, we had many months ago, and would like a report back in the order. So it's an encouragement, not a motion.
Yeah, teachers, just to answer quickly on that, the reason why we haven't brought that forward is because we're currently in negotiations, and that's part of the negotiation. If we feel as though that charter is not doing their part in responding to the current negotiation about the senior discount, then we will pursue any other legal ramifications or even lawsuits against the charter. But again, currently we're in the midst of a negotiation, and so when that comes back to us, and that's one of the part is this particular program. And so if we don't feel satisfied with what the council has requested, community, and what we stand for in terms of that discount and that program, then we will pursue other things. Right now, I think it would be premature for us to be able to do that.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The order wasn't pertaining to moving forward, it was more taking a look back and trying to claw back discounts and monies that seniors have already expended that they perhaps should be privy to. So I'll take another look at the order, Mr. Chairman, and I know that, well, I guess the question of the chair, is that something we can discuss in executive session? It's basically, since we're negotiating the contract, like, can we discuss that? Like, I know we tried to discuss stuff previously, we were told, no, there's not a lawsuit. Well, can we have some discussion regarding the negotiation in executive session, just in general?
Mr. Trader?
through the chair of the council, negotiations on contracts like that don't qualify for any exemptions in open executive session. I will just add that the issue of the past compliance is still an open issue as we negotiate. Okay. The going forward as well as the looking back. So they're all going to get tied together at some point.
Thank you.
Councilor Russell?
Mr. Chairman, I think Councilor King might have asked pretty much what I was going to But, because we're going forward trying to talk to Charter, how about going back? You know, it's like, how many senior citizens over the years have, myself included, by the way, I'm a senior citizen, I'm over 65. I renewed, I didn't renew, but I called Charter asking me where's my senior discount, they said, you don't know what you're talking about. And that was only a few months ago. So how about all the other senior citizens and all the money they paid over the years? So Mr. Chairman, I just asked for a detailed report on that. It looks like you want to respond to this.
Through the chair to the council, part of the negotiation is also a look back at the previous 10 years that they committed to in their contract that they may not, that they didn't fulfill, and that we want to make sure that they fulfill in the moving contract moving forward. So there's a combination happening both ways that we're trying to address.
Right, and I understand that going forward, but my point is what about the money they took from the senior citizens of the city of Worcester? Is there a plan from the city of Worcester to encourage them or to make them return the money they took that they weren't supposed to take under the existing contract? Is there an effort being made to do that?
Mr. Manager?
There's an effort being made right now that as part of the renegotiations on the look forward takes into consideration the impact that they had in the look back. If we don't feel as though they're not willing to come to the table and rectify that issue, then that's something that we can pursue.
Mr. Chairman, I would encourage the manager, I know the way this works, I know the manager has the right to do this contract without our specific approval, but there needs to, the senior citizens of the city need to be made good. Money has been taken from them that was unjustly taken under the contract. They need to be made good.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. So send it to traffic and parking, those in favor of also support. That's the traffic and parking, my phone service. It's getting late. So on my Send the council Kings committee. Okay.
What's burning?
The lights on the microwave don't work, so I cooked it a little too long. You should replace your employee's microwave.
Okay. Transfer information and communication over to the body work spas in the city. Center for Public Safety. Also supported.
My fault, the lights broken.
Finance items. Keep these correctly, those must have been, as an item you want to discuss, 11.35A through C, 11.36A and B, 11.37A, proposal to adopt, roll call. Roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Florio?
Yes.
Council G.A.? Council King?
Yes.
Council Marcos?
Yes.
Council Mian?
Yes.
Council Ito?
Yes.
Council Pasillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Tui? Mayor Pettit?
Transfer information, communication, or update, American Rescue Plan Act funding. So, MO, each report. They were also reported. Council Hyde, request the union request, the Public Works and Parks to get a street light on James Street in the vicinity of the gas station located at. All those in favor, opposed, so reported. Bill 12B, request the manager, request the Public Works, repaint the crosswalks in the 6th of May, and Zena Drive. Those in favor, opposed, so reported. Council Hyde, and Council Pasillo, request the city manager, request commission, transportation mobility, implement interim traffic calming measures at the Union Square Rotary, such as better signage for pedestrians and other feasible measures. All those in favor, opposed, so reported. Request the city manager work with the mayor to create a small business task force in the city. I'll be quick from here if you want, and let's get money. So, at small businesses, I think all the councils have talked about this in small business. You talk about small business, first thing they say is how much pressure they're under. If you're a restaurant, it's the costs doing business. It's the cost of implementing our public safety rules onto their properties. Food cost is very expensive. Employees are hard to find. So it'd be good to have a good listening session. We just heard from a couple Tony Como and Andy Serrato, who commissioned you last, I think this week I heard something about that. And, so people, my point is, people are interested in small business and not be part of it, so. Okay.
I would suggest that we have at least one member of this council.
Sure.
On that committee.
Okay. Small business person. Okay. Councilmember Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, so Mr. Serrato and I believe Tony Economo.
He did something this past week, I heard something.
Right, so they had started something. Is that what you're?
No, this is ours.
Okay, I just needed to be clear on that. And, in terms of the small businesses and with this, task force, I think it's a great idea, obviously. Just who is it that we're going to be recruiting to serve on that task force? Okay, great, thank you.
Council Russell?
You know, I just want to state just for the record that I think that, first of all, former councilor Economo, you know, obviously has does an awful lot of good things for the community, as does Mr. Serrato, and I look forward to the work of the committee that they're doing. But I was concerned of the press release that was done, or the news article that was done, because it gave an impression that because Phil Landry does not work for the city anymore, that there was no one there. So I was texting back and forth with Mr. Dunn about that, because I think it's important that the administration gets out the message that his position has not been vacated, and that there are plenty of staff members ready, willing, and able in the manager's office to facilitate anything that small businesses need. And I think that information is important, that message is straightened out and corrected, because, and to have them work in conjunction with that group and anyone else who wants to.
Absolutely. Okay, with that, as amended, all those in favor of so ordered. Okay, moving next. Council Bergman, that the city council see Worcester that they support House Bill 2953, natural growth of annual taxation. Council Bergman.
This was held last week, Mr. Chairman. Looking at a copy of the House Bill 2963 right now. As we discussed last week, and I gave an example of just one policy versus, which was WGI. If we took the residential tax rate that applies to all the properties they own and multiplied it by just 25%, which is what the House Bill is suggesting, would be almost $7 million additional revenue to the city of Worcester. This is not a city proposal. This is there are city officials that have signed on, but I see Steve Bob is one of the signatories on this, as well as some other familiar names. So there are some Worcester representatives on this, but at the end of the day, this is before the state legislature. And I'm simply asking this body to support it and give us extra funds, well-needed funds. I don't believe it would be an additional burden on the college and universities, since they're only being asked to pay 25% of what the rest of the city was pays for tax bills. I also think that the last section is particularly important because it was concerned about it last week. You know, somebody from the Greater Worcester Land Trust asked a question, which is a legitimate question. What about nonprofits that may have more than $15 million worth of property? They don't have any income coming in. So how do they pay 25% of their taxes? Well, the last section of the bill says that the city or town can make their own agreements with exempt organizations so that they don't have to pay the taxes in consideration of community benefits and other types of benefits to the community. So I think it covers a lot of the concerns, and I think it also addresses the unfairness that we've been dealt, given that Worcester has a large number of large nonprofits. Again, value of your property is under $15 million, which is going to be a lot of our churches and religious institutions. This wouldn't have been applied. Even if it did apply, the city could always exempt the organization for good cause. The vast majority of college and universities would be probably subject to this. You guys going to have more than $15 million worth of real estate, and that's the exact group of folks that we've not been able to collect taxes from, and this would be a legal way to do it. Let me just add that, last time I looked, the number probably is a little different now. Almost 30% of property in the city of Worcester was not taxable, and only 70% of the taxpayers are paying 100% of the bill. I think this is the way to reset the fairness between larger nonprofit institutions and the city of Worcester and our ordinary taxpayers. I think the way it's worded is fair to everyone. I don't know where it's gonna end up, because the state legislature can certainly change the language of it, but I think you should offer our support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So thank you. So we have a resolution. Mr. Chairman, Council King.
Thank you. I certainly support this. The person that held it wanted to speak out, speak to the folks who were sponsoring and point guarding this legislation. As mentioned previously, my comments I'm not going to make because it's the same that I made last week, but I will say this week I want to be clear to folks. This right here, Mr. Chairman, is page upon page of things that have been filed by this council regarding pilot orders in 2023, 2024. Page upon page, Mr. Chairman. And so this particular item speaks to that. And again, these things have been requested, that I look forward to the administration getting this back to us on, including the task force that this body unanimously supported related to pilot. And I also want to be clear to folks, this isn't about simply a response to WPI. This is stuff that has been on the agenda. I know Councilor Bergman filed stuff years ago. I filed some things. This is about the nonprofits doing their fair share, Mr. Chairman. And that's important. So I just want to make that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're all set. Roll call.
Council Bergman?
Yes.
Council Gloria?
Yes.
Council Aguirre? Council King?
Yes.
Council Carlson?
Yes.
Council Mian?
Yes.
Council Ojeda?
Yes.
Council Lucillo?
Yes.
Council Russell?
Yes.
Council Toomey? And Mayor Perry.
You want to hold the executive session until next week?
What's the hold it? Yes, let's do that.
You want to close the executive? What's that? You want to hold the executive session, Council Russell? This is your right.
Mr. Chairman, whatever the will of the council is, I'm fine either this week or next week. I'm willing to hold until next week.
Okay. So let's do it next week. So amended is for October 22nd.
We're gonna take a picture tonight, are we all with that? Because we're all in unison on page.
Okay. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered. Okay, so motion is to adjourn. All those in favor, opposed, so ordered.
Yeah,